Yeah, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Steve. It's a cracking day here at Symmons Plains. There's some cracking lap times already, and it's going to be one hell of a show. Yeah, it definitely is, and it's a very short lap, but it's also quite a busy lap and very technical. Now, one thing you'll notice, there is a hairpin at the end of one of the longest straightaway sections. Now, that is one of the trickiest corners because there's actually two lines you can take through there. You can stay high, or you can take a conventional racing line through there. Um, Depending on how you got your car set up as to which line you're going to take. And then you've got that long run down into the back sequence of corners. 7 turns, and it's all over within about less than a minute.
Excellent. So where's our overtaking places around this track? I take it down into turn 4, the hairpin is a obvious place?
Oh, definitely. That's one place. If you can get a good run out of 3, get into a slipstream, pull out last minute, dive down the inside there into the hairpin. You could probably make a run into the turn 6, 7 section there. And if you're gutsy and your car's set up right and you've got balls of steel, you can probably make an attempt into the 1-2 section as well.
Yeah, 1-2 is a bit of a handful. If you're going to try and make a manoeuvre in there, you need to have a car perfectly set up, don't you?
Definitely, because you come over a crest there, so the car's going to get light. You don't want to be late braking because you're going to lock a tyre and you're going to then go straight on. So it's, like I said, you've got to have balls of steel and the car set up perfectly to be able to pull something off at 1-2.
Excellent. So for our new viewers, new to the series, this is R Factor 2 with the FAR V8 Supercars 2014 edition. This is the new car of the future. So we've got the 5 manufacturers. We've got Holden, Nissan, Ford, Mercedes and Volvo.
Yeah, and it's good to see 5 manufacturers on track too. And you know what, Steve? We've had the variety of the manufacturers across the podium throughout the series. Now, this is only round 2, but we've had 4 rounds of pre-season, and I'll tell you what, a lot of guys have shown some great pace throughout the whole 6 races we've had.
So who are we looking for today, Troy? Who's the form guys?
Well, look, it's really hard to go past Rob Herbert in that SRT Nissan, but I think you'll also see that you've got Gavin Cox making his first appearance of the season due to a miss round last week, and Kai Turner, obviously from my team DSA. They're probably 3 standout guys at the moment, and we've also had Dave Kinnaman throw his head up there for some interest as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tight race at the top. I think Rob Herbert is holding pole position at the moment with a 49.876 lap. Gavin Cox with a 49.892, and then third place Dave Kinnaman is the first driver in the 50s with a 50.338. So it's very tight at the top there, Rob, and they're running some phenomenal pace compared to what we ran with the 2012 cars.
Oh, definitely it was. I mean, I think a 51 was considered exceptionally fast, 51 and 52. And, I mean, you look at the top 10 there, they're separated by less than a second, and that's just phenomenal.
So for our new viewers, let's tell you a little bit about Racing-Leagues.com. We are an R Factor 2 mainly series. We run a couple of series, 2 V8 Supercars Championships, one on a Friday night for European time at 19:30 GMT, and this one on the Saturday evening for the Australian and New Zealand teams. And obviously it's broadcast at 7:30 AM GMT for our viewers in Europe. So we've got an 8-round series. Calendar's just popping up there on the screen. So we've already completed round 1 at Adelaide, and that was a bit of domination, but not without some challenges for Rob Herbert, Troy.
No, it definitely wasn't. There was definitely some pressure put on there from Kai Turner and numerous other guys too. They definitely made him work hard for those wins.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was definitely not something we're used to seeing, and that's Gavin not on the grid, and he was missed definitely. And I think you'll find his teammate Dave's a lot happier to have him back on grid with him now. I think so. I think you'll find Dave will be able to keep his head a bit more in the game there, and If he starts to find himself getting a little flustered, Gavin can jump on radio there and have a chat with him, just get him eyes forward, keep it cool and focus on what's ahead. We've just had Rob there cracking a 49.2. He's almost in the 48s. That pace is unheard of here, Steve.
Yeah, that is a bit of a ridiculous pace, to be fair. That's 49.28, which has put him clear of the field by almost half a second, I believe.
Well, he's 0.61 clear of Gavin in second, and that's blown the top 10 to be 1.3 to covering the top 10. And just before that lap, we were only 9/10 covering the whole top 10.
Well, we've just had Rob on screen there. He's pushing very hard indeed. A little bit of an overshoot into after turn 1-2 complex. And we're just switching out to Dan Stevens, who's now moved himself up to third place, 0.986 seconds behind. So that's the second of the SRT cars, which was also missing from round 1. What can we expect from Dan for this round?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Dan's got to offer, because the pressure of bonus points too, he actually made mention of that in practice today, that he's feeling a bit of the pressure, because if you get 2 DNFs, that's double nothing. So the pressure's there for him to at least finish the race and grab some valuable points. But going on the form he showed last night in the BMW touring car revival season, he'll be up there. He really pressed Rob along, and I look forward to seeing what he can actually do.
Yeah, excellent. So for our new viewers, that's a rule unique to us, whereby our premium members, that's people who have contributed to the running of the site and the series, they get to select the next round after a round they miss to race for double points so that they don't lose out. So Dan has found himself in that situation, as has Gavin Cox for this race, so they've got to be a little bit more careful, haven't they?
Definitely. I guess it's what you could call a banking round, where you just want to finish the race, get a good bag of points, and not come home with a hurt car, or actually make sure you get the car home and not have it parked in the pits.
Yeah, this you've got to be doubly careful on this one, otherwise you lose your points for 2 rounds. So we've just got a Volvo on screen here of Jason Cooper. Jason, one of our newer drivers to the series, seems to be getting the pace out of the Volvo at last.
Yeah, he's obviously unlocked the key to that Volvo, and then it's up there. He's definitely up there. I mean, you look at that cluster there between 7 and 10. There's only a tenth of a second between them. There's going to be a good battle pack to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. Troy, are you checking on Twitch?
No, mate. I've only got the one screen open at the moment.
Okay, just give us a second, viewers. We'll just hang fire. Just need to check something with Twitch. Okay, excellent. So we are broadcasting live on Twitch, except the Twitch dashboard is telling me otherwise. So welcome to all of our viewers. Do feel free to ask us anything on Twitch. And already they're added on Twitch. I can see there's mention of some incidents between the TV commentary team last night. Troy, anything you want to elaborate there?
I've got no idea what you're talking about there, Steve.
Well, isn't that handy that we appear to have footage from last night? So let's just switch to last night and see what's actually happened. So there's three separate incidents, I believe, Troy?
Oh, 3 is it?
I do believe it's at least 3 anyway, so just don't want to confuse the viewers too much here, so we'll just have a look at the bottom left of your top left of your screen. Actually, you'll see the first incident there. So, would you say that's a little bit over-ambitious into that corner, Troy, or would it be something else, perhaps, maybe lack of talent at that point? No?
No, I think the car leading there just had no idea where the corner was and braked too hard for himself.
Well, that's handy. We're live on board your car from last night. We're just turning into the first right-hander. Oh, there we go. It looked like your brake pedal didn't appear to be working. What would your comeback for that one be, Troy?
There was a slight master cylinder failure, maybe?
Yes, the master cylinder holding the wheel, I think. And then if you look at the bottom left, this is the second race, I believe. I don't know if you want to talk us through what you were thinking on this one, Troy, or maybe you weren't. Oh, there we go again.
Which one's this?
So this is the one where I was turning into the corner and you arrived into the left rear quarter panel.
Oh, right, where you were basically too slow and I let the car flow and tried to get it up on the grass and make a pass, but then you shut the door last second.
No, that wasn't the grass one. This is the grass one coming up now for anybody who needs to see. So, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, guys. So, I'm just turning into the corner. Troy's in slow motion, up, all four wheels off, and into the rear quarter panel again. So
No, I still felt two wheels on the ground.
Okay, it didn't look like you liked my rear quarter panel, or perhaps you liked it too much. But anyway, all good stuff. So, one thing we'll be talking about.
Just payback from Hidden Valley, Steve.
Well, one thing we'll be talking about today through the race is tyre management for a lot of drivers. That was something I was managing quite well last night. I'll keep referring to tonight because I did last night because I did promise you, Troy. So there was a bit of tyre management to try and keep the tyres in the car because you don't want to make that extra pit stop. So what tyres are we running here at Symmons Plains?
We're actually running the softs as we did last night, Steve, in that race that you're going to love referring to today.
Oh, that's interesting. So we've got Gavin Cox on screen here. So what do you need to do to get the most out of this car on these tyres?
Probably drive it as straight as you can and not try and load up the car too much through the turns. There's a lot of time spent turning at this track, like through the 6-7 complex. You're constantly leaning on that front right tyre and that right rear tyre as well. So you really got to be careful of how hard you're going to load that tyre because that one is going to burn out quick because there's a lot of time spent turning left, especially in the hairpin and, like I said, the 6 and 7 complex.
Mumble from the race stewards. So just watching Gavin Cox as he drifts it round the hairpin there. That's clearly not the best way to keep your tyres on, but it does look spectacular for us, so feel free to keep that up all day, Gavin. Definitely
not the way you want to be handling your tyres, and I was sure that there was only 2 drift school cars out there, not 3. So Gavin obviously trying to make a claim for a new driver position maybe at our team.
Perhaps, yeah, he's definitely looking good. And so, to keep our viewers up to date on the format from here, so we have 2 qualifying sessions in effect. We have this qualifying session which will set the the positions 11 to the end of the grid. So this is only for positions 11 downwards. We next move to the top 10 shootout, which I believe is a part of this round, and the top 10 shootout involves just the top 10 cars, funny enough, but they only get to go 1 lap at a time. They only get 1 lap, 1 out lap and 1 hot lap, and then that is the grid set. So that adds a little bit of an extra dimension, wouldn't you say, Troy?
Look, and that's the thing, that the advantage of the top 10 is you can be Rob Herbert, top of the tree. All the pressure's on you to bring out your best lap again on 1 lap. Whereas in the standard qualifying session, you've got multiple laps to bring it out. So you could get someone like Scott Bainsworth here at 10th, come out, put out a cracking 1 lap, and everyone else falter, and all of a sudden he's on pole. It's a really great system.
Yeah, something else we haven't mentioned yet as well is the weather could make an appearance at any stage. I'm not quite sure what the weather forecast for Symmons is this weekend, but for instance, if you're in the top 10, you're the first car out, you've got a dry track, and it suddenly rains, well, pole position's yours, isn't it, Troy?
Well, that's exactly right, and I think That's key, definitely, in your normal qualifying session, especially now with the live weather that we run, is to get the car out on track, get a banker in, especially if you've got some heavy dark clouds around. And we've got a wide variety there. I mean, Norman Clark, he's made an appearance, and I tell you what, Norm, he's done a sensational job to come from where he was last season, the back marker, and be a constant top 10 threat.
Yeah, exactly. So just give us a second. We should get the top 10 graphics up for you. So Troy, talk to the top 10 and what we can expect from which drivers.
Okay, basically, in the top 10, I would expect Rob to drive consistent. He manages to be able to throw down the consistent lap time after lap time. Dave Kimman, he has been known to suffer a bit with the pressure of a top 10, so you could see maybe him falter and maybe come in around sort of the 6th, 5th mark. Kai Turner, he has struggled sometimes with one lap pace, so I probably dare say around again, probably that 4 downward. Dan Stevens, it's going to be interesting to see. This is, like I said, he's feeling a lot of extra pressure with the double points round, so whether he takes the car out and just puts a banker lap in with a decent time. So, and then we've got a new one here, Gerard Hatfield. He's a newcomer. I don't remember seeing him last round, so he's shown some good pace as well.
Yeah, excellent. So our top 10 should be in 10th position. We should have Scott Bainsworth out first, followed by Jason Cooper, with Gerard Hatfield in 8th, as you rightly pointed out, one of our new drivers to this round. Norman Clark, who's done very well to get that car up into 7th. Kai Turner, a bit of a surprise that he's not as far up as he normally is, down in 6th. Dan Stevens 5th, good return to the series for Dan. 4th, David Kinnaman. 3rd, Dan Ricard Pavel from Vegemite Racing, so good to see Dan up there as well, so he'll at least be in the top 10 for this one. Gavin Cox in 2nd and Rob Herbert 1st. So the first car out should be the Scott Bainsworth car.
Yeah, it should be in theory, and I tell you what, Steve, it's going to be good to see, because I think it was the last test round at Hidden Valley for the Oceania boys that one of the Volvos came and stole pole in top 10, because there was a couple of the top runners had a bit of a mishap.
Yeah, I believe that was your very own Kai Turner, who was driving the Volvo for that round. Yeah, he put a complete shock over. And last time out as well, Rob Herbert, who was fastest in practice, got done by one of our new drivers, Kurt Kateski, for the overall pole position. So nothing is more pressure than the top 10 shootout.
No, and that all comes down to it. You've got one lap. The pressure's on. You've got to get that. You've got to get that car on song. Tyres up to temp, brakes up to temp. Make sure that car's ready to go in this one lap. Otherwise, it's all over. You're starting back of the 10.
That's true. So we've got our first car out on track. It is the Scott Bainsworth Vegemite number 90 Holden Commodore. What are you doing on your outlap, Troy? What do you need to get out of this outlap?
What you sort of really want to do is you want to have minimal fuel on board as a starter. Then you want to try and get your temperature up on your working tyre. Whatever tyre is going to be the one that's going to be working the hardest on this lap, which at Symmons Plains, it is your front right. You want to get your temperature up on your right-hand side tyres as much as you can. Then also they're concentrating on getting the brake temperature up. So maybe riding your brake a little bit through that first half of the section gives you a chance to get your brake temps up for that big stop here, down especially in the back section.
Okay, so we're just on board with the Scott Bainsworth car now from the helmet cam, heading down the back straight into turn 4, looking for the braking point on the right hand side to try and get it slowed down enough but not lose too much speed. So he's had to take a couple of swings at that hairpin, perhaps not enough steering lock.
He's struggling with drive out of the turn there, Steve, and that's one of the key factors to getting a good lap time here at Symmons, is getting drive out of that hairpin.
Yeah, because that compromises you down the rest of the back end of the circuit, doesn't it?
Definitely, because you're not going to be hitting that top speed that everyone else is going to be hitting. And he's very late on the throttle there out of 6, so this could be he's struggled really getting this car turned in here.
Excellent. So he just crosses the line there with a 52.6, which is not going to bother the top end of the top 10. I wouldn't have thought so.
No, definitely not. I think you'll find he'll be looking quite comfortable there at the back end of it.
So we've just got the Volvo Jason Cooper out on track now as well. So Jason's just on his lap. Oh, he's straight in the wall.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
And that's a key sector there. You're trying to get on the power early out of that turn 2-3 complex there. But getting on it too early causes the car to want to become tail happy, and then it's very quick and it's very easy to find a wall.
Yeah, I think this was his out lap, so hopefully he hasn't done too much damage. There is 70% damage, I believe, set on the game, so he could have actually done some lasting damage on that car for this lap.
And I do believe one of the SS Commodores is up next, Steve, after Jason.
Comes around the last corner across start finish straight, and he's actually done a 55.960 on that one. So we just got the Mercedes coming out on track now of Jared Hatfield. So the Mercedes, obviously a new car to us this year as well. It hasn't been ran in many rounds in the first round, I don't believe. So it's good to see somebody with a bit of pace in the Merc. It's a very fast car, nice looking car as well. So Jared's just making his way around on his warm-up lap. He's coming around the back straight now into the hairpin at turn 4. So the key here is to get plenty of drive out of that last corner. Down here, brake as late as you possibly can. Locking up a little bit on a warm-up lap, that's a little bit unnecessary. Hopefully it doesn't bite him afterwards. Round the back half of the circuit, so you need to get the drive out to the left here and then pull across to the right as you come round past the Coates Hire signs. And just keep a nice line through there and as much power, and don't upset the car as much as possible. Hard on the brakes of the 100 metre board in here for this next complex left hander, which seems to go on forever. And then you have another left hander. We're onto the start finish straight, so we'll just get in the cockpit with Jared and see how this car's handling. She's got a really nice line through there, trying to control any potential oversteer on the exit. That Merc sounds awesome. It's just nice and late on the brakes as well. Stay out wide, cut back in, try and get as much drive out of this corner as possible. And that's a nice line around there. And then feed the power in down this back straight. Just coming across to the right hand side to try and get a good line into the next left hander, braking as late as possible. Turn in, his car's got a tendency to step out under oversteer in this corner. He's just ran out nice and wide there. Again, another corner where the car tends to oversteer if you give it too much out of there. And across the line for 51.814, which is good enough for the pole position at the moment. So just joining the Norman Clark car from Oranga Racing. Another nice looking car, and the first of our Ford Falcons out on track as well, heading down the back straight towards turn 4, the hairpin. Norman, who's our current Global Touring Car champion, making his first foray into the V8 supercars and doing well. Norman's coming on with more pace every time he gets behind the wheel of this car as well, which is good to see. So he's going to start moving up, and he's already up inside the top 10 for this one. And then we're into the tricky last little section, so a little bit of oversteer on entry there. That's what you need to be careful of. And then pulling it in nice and tight across the curb onto the start finish straight. And there we go, he's gone straight to pole position. That was a very nice lap of 51.386. And next out on track we should have the Kai Turner car from DSA, so he's already started his lap. Plenty of tyre smoking. You only need these tyres for this one lap, so you may as well get as much out of them as possible. And he's come down into the hairpin section as well, so as late on the brakes as possible. Try and get a good turn in and a good drive out on the exit. He's missed the apex a little bit there, but it doesn't matter because he's got a nice drive on the outside. And I reckon this one should be good enough for the pole position at the moment as it stands. So we've got Norman Clark from Jared Hatfield, Scott Bainsworth and Jason Cooper. Kai's just coming down to the last part as late on the brakes as possible. Try not to get the car to step out on the way in. That's a nice line through there as well. This is looking nice and fast, calm and controlled, which is good to see. And across the start finish straight. And yes, that's the pole position at the moment, a 51.264. Next up we have the second of the SRT Nissans, the 33 car of Dan Stevens, making his first appearance this season. Another nice looking car. Down the back straight, the Nissan just looks like a much bigger car, but it seems to handle just as well as anything else. And that's a nice drive through there, carrying as much speed as possible. A little bit of oversteer on the exit there, but he's straightened it up and got going. And we're coming into the last section now, braking as late as possible, turn in, watch for that oversteer on exit. Around the left hander, and a little bit of oversteer there, he's drifting it out. Hopefully it hasn't compromised him too much, and Dan goes to pole position with a 51.6, so it's sticking in order at the moment. So the next car out is the 55 Shell Helix Racing Falcon from 555 Racing of Dave Kinnaman. Dave's just coming across the starter's lap now. So with a 51.6, which is a very good lap for a top 10 shootout when you only get the one lap and all the pressure's on. Let's see what Dave can do against that. So just waiting for the sector time to come up. So an 18.050, which is the fastest overall first sector. Down into the back end complex as well, and a 17.391 for sector 2, which means this should be good for pole position at the moment. Oh, a lot of oversteer and a little bit of understeer as well coming through there. Hopefully it doesn't compromise him too much. He's ran it out nice and wide there to get the most power out of it. And that's only good enough for third position on the grid at the minute, of 51.314, some 0.225 seconds down. We joined the second of the Vegemite Racing Holden Commodores, the 91 car of Dan Ricard Pavel. Dan showed a lot of pace in the last round, just a little bit of bad luck that he didn't get the results that his pace warranted. So let's see how he's going to do on this one. So 17.951 for sector 1 versus an 18.2 for Dave Kinnaman. So already up in sector 1. See if he gets a drive out of this one. Looked good so far. And we're down into the last bit, hard on the brakes, turn in, watch for the oversteer, check there's no understeer as well. Everybody's got to remember these are large cars as well, take a lot of control, a little bit of oversteer there as well, which hopefully hasn't cost him too much. And that is only good enough for 5th on the grid at the minute with a 51.556, so it's very, very tight. So we've got our last two drivers to come. The fastest two from qualifying, Gavin Cox making his first appearance of the year in the number 5 Xbox Forward Falcon from 555 Racing. Looking a little bit ragged coming onto the back straight there, but he is pushing as hard as is possible. Down into the hairpin, 17.982. The Dan Stevens lap from earlier is looking even more impressive as we get through the rest of the grid. Down into the last section now, hard on the brakes, turn in, watch the back, very, very controlled in there, good, nice looking line, the tightest line we've seen so far from anybody, with a little bit of oversteer coming on. Oh, and a snap understeer as well. Oh, but that was good enough for pole, so that's a 50.932, so on the very ragged edge there. So let's see what Rob Herbert can do. So our current Fiat Supercars champion in the number 1 SRT Jägermeister Nissan, just coming across the start as a lap. He's got a lot of oversteer coming out of that last exit, so he's definitely got the tyres up to temperature. Oh, and a little bit of a curb hop there on the way in. He needs to be careful, that can unsettle the car coming onto the back straight. Rob's got it planted, so it looks like this is another lap that's just right on the edge as well, so very tight between first and second. And it's a 17.646, an amazing first sector there. down the back straight, let it get out a little bit to the left, come back over to the right. Hard on the brakes in this. So on his warm-up lap, this is where the car stepped out, and it steps out again. That Nissan looks a little bit bulky compared to the rest of them. A little bit more oversteering. He's drifting it around that last corner. Hopefully that hasn't cost him too much. And it hasn't. First pole position of the year, 50.379 seconds for Rob Herbert. 50.379 pole position. Gavin Cox in second with a 50.932. Dan Stevens in third with a 51.6. Kai Turner fourth with a 51.264. Dave Kinnaman in fifth with a 51.314. Norman Clark in sixth with a very good 51.376. And then Dan Ricard Pavel with a 51.556 in seventh. Jared Hatfield in eighth position, some 1.435 seconds back of that. Ninth is Scott Bainsworth in second to the Vegemite Racing, holding Commodores with 52.6. And then Jason Cooper, who had an incident on his outlap in the Volvo with a 55.790. So that's our top 10 for the first race of today. So let's see if we can get some of the drivers down for a little bit of a chat and see how they went.
Ferrari moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve. Parabolica moved in from the lobby by Steve. Dan moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve.
So guys, welcome to the comms box, top three. Well done everybody. Dan, if we just come to you in third first of all, that was an excellent lap. It looked like it might be pole position for a while. How was it for you?
Yeah, mate, I was a bit hairy on the last turn there. I got it a bit sideways. I thought I was joining Troy's drift school, but I managed to get across the line straight, pointing straight. But getting to 51, I thought that was going to be down in the 6th and 7th, 8th position.
Yeah, well, up until you went, everybody was staying in grid order, and then you sort of upset it for a while. So, well done. What's your outlook for the race? Bearing in mind you've got to race for double points. You going to play it safe, or are you going to go for it?
Well, I'm up the pointy end now, mate, so I just want to get through turn 1, turn 3 in the hairpin, and then just follow my teammate and get out of there and get away from all the trouble.
Good stuff. Good luck with the race. So over to you, Gavin. Gavin, that lap looked right on the edge as well, and it did look like you were going to have the pole for a half a lap at the very least. How was it for you?
Yeah, fairly scary, Steve. Went out there expecting to have the grip that we had before, and it just wasn't there. So it was a little bit wild.
Yeah, well done. So what's your plan for the race then? Are you going to try and get out front and get away?
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I'm a race driver. That's what you do.
Good stuff. And Rob, congratulations on pole position. So that's the first time this season, albeit there's only been one round, that you've managed to actually convert the pace and qualifying to the top 10 shootout.
Yeah, no, it's always nice, eh? But as Gav was saying, man, that was a bloody bucking bronco. I sort of could tell on the warm-up lap that I was like, seems like it was a bit less grip than normal. So it was pretty bloody hairy and right on the edge in a few places. So yeah, glad to be at the pointy end as well.
Excellent, good stuff, guys. Well, good luck for the race. We'll let you get back up to it.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
Dan moved to V8 Supercars by Steve. Ferrari moved to V8 Supercars by Steve. Parabolica moved to V8 Supercars by Steve.
So there we have it. We've got the top 10 set for the grid. So our complete grid is ready to go. And we'll be back shortly with the first race. So there's a 7-minute warm-up time. So we'll just let the screen run for everybody.
So we've already started, have we, Steve? Certainly am, mate. It's on the truck now.
So welcome back,
Most
everybody.
definitely.
There is 3 minutes and 42 seconds left of the warm-up, and we will be into race 1 very shortly indeed. So that was an interesting top 10, Troy. We had the top 3 ended up in Rob Herbert from Gavin Cox and Dan Stevens. Everybody ran in grid order as they finished in qualifying. They ended up in the same position apart from Dan Stevens, who was the first one to jump a few positions. And then we had the Gavin Cox Xbox Racing Falcon out second last. And it looked right on the edge, Troy. The car was loose everywhere. And then it followed immediately by Rob Herbert, who put in an even faster lap. Again, the car was completely on the edge. So in the post-race interview there, the drivers were saying the grip wasn't what they expected from the end of qualifying. So that's a bit interesting comment, considering the track conditions stay pretty much the same.
Well, yeah, I would have thought they would have, considering that their sessions are back to back. But obviously, there's something there in the track that the guys just aren't fighting. I mean, it could be the fact that they've rubbered up the truck a lot more, and it could have been slightly millimetre offline, bit of marbling under the tyres from warming the tyres up and all over the road. Numerous factors.
Yes, the only car we had an incident with in the top 10 was the Volvo of Jason Cooper, which smacked the wall on the start of its fast lap and ended some 3 seconds off the pace or whatever. Jason's out now as well, and he's having another issue just as we speak. A bit of a commentator's curse there for him. What can we expect from the Volvos today?
Well, it depends. If you want to go with the traditional bloody Volvo driver, probably a lot of hindrance. But no, look, in all seriousness, I think these guys are going to be consistent. If they can keep their cars on track and find themselves a good rhythm, this track is definitely key to having your rhythm down pat. They'll definitely be up there to cause a bit of headaches for everyone.
Yeah, so it's good to see that there's a good mix up the front, and that Mercedes is looking very fast as well. If Jared Hatfield, one of our new drivers, is up in 4th position in the warm-up at the moment, but it looks very fast and under control as well.
It does look very much under control, and obviously this warm-up is probably a bit of an indicator to race pace as well. So looking at that, there's definitely going to be some cracking battles. I mean, Ian Hannon and Dave Kinnaman they're only separated by 7 thousandths of a second. Because realistically, in this session, Steve, you want to probably get a feel for the car's balance and how it's going to feel with a full load of fuel on it, tyre burn, fuel burn, and get a feel for what to expect from the car when that green flag drops.
Yes, absolutely. So what are you changing between practice, qualifying and the race now? So obviously you're going to stick more fuel in. You're going to soften the car up a little bit so it's a little bit better on its tyres?
Definitely probably soften the suspension up, drop my spring rate a bit to get the tyre longevity out of it. Maybe change a bit on the anti-roll bars depending on whether the car was good mid-turn or turn in. Drop the tyre pressures too, because definitely in that top 10 shootout you're going to want to have your tyre pressures up because you've got one lap. I'd probably drop the pressures a little bit to get a bit more longevity out of the tyre as well.
Yeah, of course, and some of the really top drivers as well are adjusting the roll bars as they go during the race, as well as the fuel load changes and the balance of the car changes a little bit as well. So we're in the last little couple of seconds of warm-up, which is now finished. So everybody gets to finish the lap they're on, and then we should be straight into race 1. Okay, so we're just waiting on the cars to form up now any second. Yes, there's a little bit of an interesting issue on the grid at Symmons Plains. As we can see, some of the cars don't quite line up correctly at the start, so it looks like the Xbox Falcon stuck on its side. It isn't actually. It's just a little bit of an inaccuracy at this track. Oh, and actually, looking back, there might be a problem for the Gavin Cox car there. It doesn't look like it's able to get going.
Definitely is. Definitely is a problem for the Gavin Cox car. Their car is, there's obviously a sinkhole at Symmons Plains.
Yeah, we've consistently had that issue with when we run a large grid here as well, so hopefully we can get it back on again. And
Kai Turner, Gavin Cox, same again.
Oh no. And that's the drawbacks of sim racing sometimes, guys. Some strange things tend to happen.
And it's just Gavin's car, because Kai's car seems to have fixed itself, but it's obviously that number 2 spot, it's cursed.
Yeah, he just needs to try and get it moving. So let's see if we can get it moving at all. No, it looks like... No, it's not going to work.
It's not going to happen for him.
No, he's destroying his tyres with that. That's unfortunate. Apologies, this looks really pathetic, but there's not a lot we can do. It's down to the track.
Yeah, this sort of does leave us in a bit of an awkward position. So how about that weather this year, Steve?
Yeah, so I'll just have a quick look and see if there is a weather forecast for Symmons Plains to see what we can expect. If it does make an appearance, this is going to be a treacherous track to say the least.
Definitely. I mean, obviously with that sinkhole there on the main straight, it's going to be an issue for the boys to work with. And Gavin seems to have missed the sinkhole this time. And now Kai is on his roof.
Yeah, I think that will.
No, Kai's all right.
I think that will resolve itself. Yeah, so hopefully. So just looking at the weather forecast for today, got a 40% humidity, 7% cloud, and no chance of rain though. So that's good news for the drivers, but not so good for us, eh?
Yeah, it's not going to leave us much to get excited about there. It'll just be a plain, smooth sailing, dry race.
Well, that's anything but we've seen this season so far, so there'll be action, I'm sure, from the first corner. This grid as well, Troy, I've done many races here myself as well. It's a really awkward grid to get off. You're very claustrophobic, if you like, on the starting spots as well. With these cars being so huge as well, the chances of rubbing panels at the very least is quite high, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it definitely is. It's such a short lap, and you're very busy. There's no time to stop and really think about what's going on around you. It's all action, and before you know it, it's start again.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potential, especially from the back of the grid as well, because you're arriving at that first corner faster than the cars in front often. And it does cause a little bit of a stacking back up of the pack a little bit as well, so hopefully we'll see no issues, but I would seriously doubt we'll get a clear start. This grid is very tight. We've got a very big grid as well, and a varying amount of talent throughout the field as well, so fingers crossed to see what happens. So we're coming around the last corner now. The number 1 Jägermeister Nissan is leading the number 5 Racing Xbox Falcon. It should be a good start from the front two, I would have thought. Dan Stevens in the box seat in third there if anything goes wrong through the first series of corners, but then again he's got to watch from behind as well. So
is that Dave Kinnaman directly behind him there, Steve?
It is, mate, as well, so let's hope they've got everything out of their system from the pre-season and they can get on with it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to give us something to watch because those two, they definitely have a love affair with each other and don't mind swapping paint.
Yeah, a bit of paint swap's good. So here come the lights. And it's green, 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 and that's an excellent start by both of the front row. Rob Herbert's got the inside for the next corner, even though Gavin's made a good move on the outside, so he needs to be careful he doesn't get taken up by the other SRT Nissan of his teammate. And we're coming on to the back straight. 1, 2, 3, as is.
And it looks like we've had a slight issue at the back here with Colin Burns and Neville Wilson.
Yeah, so we've just had a spin
and
round.
Darren Goosey is stuck.
God, that looks like chaos back there, so we've just had the replay there as well.
Darren Goosey stuck out of the exit out of 1.
So just looking for the replay, one of the Volvo spears off to the left and then a couple of people drive into each other. I would imagine that there's possibly going to be a yellow flag situation from this. Most cars got going again. Yes, we've got the Mercedes coming down, getting on board with Ian Hannon, coming down into the turn 4 hairpin, where there looks like there's been a bit of action as well. And yes, there's a yellow flag that's just been called. Yes, did expect that was going to happen. So a little bit of issues down the back there as well. So it was to be expected, to be fair. It's a very large grid and a very tight starting grid as well.
Yeah. It is, and it's unfortunate that Darren Goosey's had to park the DSA Commodore because it was obviously involved in an incident there in turn 1, and it's coming out of there. It's just suffered one of the sinkhole problems, and yeah, it was stuck.
Oh, that's really unfortunate to have a driver out this early. So just interesting to take a look at the two ASR Holden Commodores, both brand new liveries on both cars for this race. Down in 15th and 16th, unfortunately, they were a little bit further up in qualifying, so they just got involved in the incidents that went on there.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy opening sequence. We've had cars stuck in sinkholes on main streets and cars going left, right and centre, so it's hopefully everyone can just cool their heads here a little bit, find themselves a bit of a rhythm and move on from here.
The thing is, it might be worth looking at OV. At supercars we don't normally use rolling starts, but this might be a candidate if there ever was one for a rolling start instead of off the grid. This grid is so tight, isn't it?
It really is, definitely. It is one of those tracks that's extremely tight, and I guess because of that turn 1-2 area there where you're coming up over a crest, so you really don't get a view at what's happening in turn 2 until you're at turn 2.
Yeah, of course. And one thing to note as well, which hopefully the drivers picked up on from the last one, when there is a yellow flag, we add on a lap as well for each one under yellow. So hopefully there's nobody who's tried to compromise on fuel. You need, I believe, what we used to call it, the mechanics gallon thrown in as well.
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely something that a few guys haven't probably thought about. It'll be interesting to see if they have, and you'll be able to tell that from the lap pace.
So, for instance, if you haven't thought about that and you've got this extra couple of laps under the safety car, it's a minimum of 2 laps, by the way, viewers, a minimum of 2 laps. It can be cleared after 2 laps once the stewards have sorted everything out. What can you do to save fuel under safety car?
Realistically, Steve, all you can do is probably just use as minimal fuel as possible and probably run the car as high a gear as possible.
Yeah, or lift and coast as well, I suppose. There's always that option.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to be blipping your throttle as much either on your downshift, so if you can get away with just rolling the car into the corner and slowing it down more like a conventional road car, then that's going to conserve your fuel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully everybody's thought about it, and if they haven't thought about it, they're doing some sort of fuel saving at the moment. So we're on the last lap of yellow. We're going to go green on the next lap, so green on the next lap round, so everybody should be starting to get their heads on, get the visor down and ready to let loose again.
And that's it. You can see that the boys are starting to get a bit anxious here. There's a couple of weaving, getting their tyres ready. You can see that Gavin's really getting ready to put the pressure on Rob there. Hopefully he can. You got Dan there getting those front tyres warmed up on that Nissan.
Yeah, definitely. So, could you see we've just got Kai on screen right now? So switch back to the Rob Herbert car and see what Rob's doing. Interestingly, the cars behind are doing a lot of weaving, keeping the tires warm. But the one car that has not moved is that number one car. It's keeping it nice and straight. But as I said, he's just started to weave now a little bit.
Yeah, it's a commentator's curse, mate. You seem to be saying he's not doing something, then he will do it.
Yeah, but I suppose potentially when you put your helmet on there, you're thinking about, why I don't need to warm up that early. I just need to do it at the end. And here we go. We're coming around again. The pace car should drop off to the right-hand side. We've got the green up and going, and Rob Herbert has pulled a huge gap from Gavin Cox already across the start-finish.
That's a lazy start there from Gavin.
Yeah, it looked, to be fair, it looked a little bit like Rob wasn't going to go, and then he just went. So he's just completely snookered the rest of the field on that restart.
Yeah, he's got a cracking restart there, and it's bunched the field up, and it's given us something to look at here in the back end of the field as well. Dave Kimmin down the inside of Kai for the fourth position.
Yeah, there's an enormous gap as well from the Volvo back to Ian Hannon as well, so perhaps sleeping a little bit there on the restart. Or sorry, from the two Volvos, Jason Cooper to Chris McCall.
Yeah, so there's a huge gap. It's that's the funny thing with a restart. A lot of guys can be caught napping, and then all of a sudden you got to try and play catch up. It just doesn't work because these cars are so evenly matched.
Okay, so we're on the replay of the Dave Kinnaman move. So he's just come out of the start-finish straight and got right on the back and slipstreamed down the inside of Kai Turner and into turn 4. So that's a textbook move, to say the least.
That's a textbook Symmons planes. That's textbook. That's exactly where you'll see a lot of overtaking done.
Yeah, so that's a driver with a lot of experience around this track. In fact, it's one of the most prolific tracks that we've run, and he's already making a go at Dan Stevens right in front as well. So let's keep an eye on these two. They've got a little bit of history in the pre-season as well. Dan missed the first round. Let's see if there's any thing to be cleared up from pre-season between them.
And it's not just pre-season. These two, you'll find them battling it out in other championships as well.
So Rob Herbert has made a little bit of a gap there at the front. He's 2.4 seconds ahead of Gavin Cox already, and then the next three are within a second of each other. So it's going to be a little bit interesting here to see what's actually happening. So we've got 32 lap race with 6 in the books already. Rob Herbert looks like he's just going to go for it, and let's see what the rest can do.
Yeah, definitely. And when you've got the ability of Rob with the pace management he's got, you can sort of afford to maybe put the hammer down for 2 or 3 laps and give yourself a bit of a cushion and then maintain it as well.
And we're having an awesome battle there between Jared Hatfield and Ian Hannon. So we're just on board the Mercedes coming up down the back straight, so he's getting a nice draft. It's a little bit far back actually to be getting the draft, so he's managed to make a move or an attempt to move. So he's very late on the brakes down the inside of the Nissan, and he's compromised his entry there a little bit himself because he's had the tighter line in.
And that's the problem. You've got to try and, when you're making your pass, you've got to try and work out where you want to be, where you want to get the better drive out of the corner, if that's going to help you, or is it turn-in speed.
So we've got plenty of action at turn 4. We've got the Colin Burns ASR Commodore down the inside of the Volvo a little bit. Oh, and he's just overran a little bit and he's straight into the wall, so that's unfortunate there. Thing is, when you're on colder tyres as well, Troy, and you try to make that move, you need to be damn sure that you're able to turn it in as well. So a little bit unfortunate there for the ASR car.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something that catches a lot of guys out in a restart situation.
So looking down the field a little bit into 5th and 6th, Kai's definitely not showing the pace that he has in the pre-season and the previous race, so maybe it's one of those sort of anomaly tracks that's just doesn't get on with certain drivers.
It's definitely something me and Kai have spoken about during the week. He's had a few issues with trying to get the car sorted for this track and having a computer issue wiped all his setup, so he had to start from fresh only 2 days ago.
That's a little bit unfortunate as well. So he's got the Dan Ricard Pavel Vegemite racing car coming for him as well. To be fair, they're all keeping very good pace, so 3rd back to 7th are pretty close. First and second have skipped away a little bit now. Still a 2.2 second gap between first and second, Rob Herbert to Gavin Cox. 4.52 seconds back of that is Dan Stevens in third position. Looks like he's showing a clean pair of heels at this point in the race to the Dave Kinnaman, second of the 555 Racing the 55 Shell Helix Ford Falcon. And then we're back a couple of seconds to Kai Turner and the Vegemite racing car of Dan Ricard Pavel. Seventh position, we've got Norman Clark in the Oranga Racing number 10 Ford Falcon. Oh, and there's been an issue already. It looks like the lapped car potentially got involved with the leaders.
That could be interesting.
So we're just getting the replay from outside of the car. So the Neville Wilson Norton Nissan into the final corners. Rob Herbert's come up to lap him. He's just run off. Actually, to be fair to Neville, he's run off to allow the leaders through there, and then he appears to have spun on the exit.
Driving.
He spun on the exit of turn 4, but managed to get out of the way of everybody. So that's good to see. So back to Norman Clark. Norman's improving with each and every lap in this car as well. I'm very impressed with his driving today as well. He's actually closing up to 6th position now from 7th. Lost a little bit off the start, a little bit tentative, could be said, but he's only 10.4 seconds off the lead, looking strong as well and catching the cars in front. So interesting to see how he gets on from here.
Yeah, definitely, and Norman's definitely one of those drivers that the more time he spends behind the wheel, the faster he's getting.
Down in 8th position we have Ian Hannon. He is in 2nd place in the European Series points. We have spoken with Ian a few times, and he does feel that running the 2 series without a teammate in either is starting to compromise him a little bit. So if you're watching and you know what to do with a steering wheel and a V8 supercar, there's a very good team looking for a teammate to get him up to speed a little bit. So he seems to have got the pace in the European Series, but he struggled for the first 2 rounds here, you could be said.
Definitely. In the European Series, Ian's been right up there. I don't know whether it's the style of track that suits him better, or it's or what it is, but he's definitely been there in the European Series. In the Australians, he just doesn't. I don't know. It's really hard to put a finger on.
Maybe it's the time difference, the early mornings versus the late evenings. He's at his peak in the evenings, not so good in the mornings.
Well, it could be that too, but in saying that, there's someone like myself that runs the European League, and that's an early morning start for me here, and I find it doesn't really make too much of a difference if you prepare yourself well.
Well, you are using the Terminator arm as well, so that's potentially a little bit of an advantage for you.
Oh, look, just because I'm part robot doesn't mean nothing.
Robot's got a heart. So we're just looking at the Jared Hatfield Merc, and this guy has shown tremendous pace throughout practice and qualifying. He's just finding out that having more cars on the track, and these boys play for keeps as well, can end up, you can't show your true pace at times.
Definitely, and that's the thing about this this series, is that these boys are serious about their racing. They're hard racing. Sometimes it can become a little bit messy, I guess. I'm sure you can attest to that, Steve. And but in all, they like to keep it hard and fair.
Yeah, so down in 10th position we got the first of the Volvos, Jason Cooper. He showed great pace in the first qualifying session, had an accident on his actual qualifying lap. Actually, we just move ahead. Jared Hatfield is trying to make a move on Ian Hannon. He's getting a little bit more aggressive, which is good to see. He's putting the car in positions to start to compromise Ian's speed in front as well, and the Volvos are managing to close up as well. So Jason Cooper's leading his teammate Chris McCall, and both are getting dragged along towards the front. 12th position was the second of the Oranga Racing Ford Falcons.
Oh, they've touched.
So yes, let's see if we can get that one. Yes, we're just on the replay now. We've got the Nissan, the Mercedes and the Volvo. We've got the Mercedes moving to the inside a little bit, drifting back out. Let's see what happens. The Merc's just outbraked itself, and it's clattered off the Ian Hannon Nissan as well. That's going to be a look by the stewards. I'd imagine that'll be a drive-through penalty at the very least.
Definitely something for the boys to have a look at in the box. So
Ian Hannon, that's cost him. He's dropped down to 11th position there as well. So we just move back up the front again. So the gap has remained pretty static. Rob Herbert still out in front, still got a 2.5 second lead over Gavin Cox. It seems to be going up and down by maybe a tenth or two here and there, but all in all, Rob and Gavin both look like they've got it under control. Third position, Dan Stevens, 5.8 seconds back and 2 seconds in front of the Dave Kinnaman car. So good return for both the Gavin Cox Xbox Falcon and the number 33 Margers SRT Nissan as well, seeing as both guys are running for double points.
Yeah, the Oranga boys, they're a great bunch of blokes to race with. I mean, Roger, he gives his all. He's always there for a race, and he'll give you everything he's got. And like I said, Norm, I'm really impressed with Norm. He's come on in leaps and bounds.
I reckon we lost something in translation there. Troy was talking about the Gavin Cox car and the Dan Stevens car running for double points.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm lost with Norm. I'm just infatuated by him because the fact that the pace that he's showing so already is I can't believe it. I'm stoked by him.
So the Dan Ricard Pavel car has managed to get past Kai Turner. He's up into 5th now as well, and he's shown a clean pair of heels to that. Let's see if we can get a replay as to what happened down there. Nothing on our screens.
It was a fair while ago, but I have got word from my boys in the pits there that Kai's actually struggling with some brake pedal issues, so it's probably a reasoning why his pace isn't so well.
Yes, just looking at his fastest lap is a 51.76 seconds. His last lap was a 51.8, so maybe he's just starting to get on top of that issue now.
I'm hoping so, because I've told the boys to tell him just drive.
Yeah.
But the front three seem to be pretty well spaced out and just cruising along on a Sunday drive almost, Steve.
Yeah, so Rob Herbert on the last lap has just stretched his legs a little bit. He's pulled out half a second, so his gap is now up to 3.5 seconds on this lap, 3.6 seconds. So Gavin's obviously starting to struggle a little bit for pace, and I suppose at the back of his mind has got that he needs to get this car home in both races today to make sure that he doesn't get penalised for missing the Adelaide round too much.
And that's exactly what we were talking about pre-race here, was the pressure that a poor result is a double poor result, because it not only just hurts you in this race, but it hurts you in the next as well.
So we've got almost 20 laps in the books, Troy. We've got 12 to go. What are the tyres feeling like right about now?
Probably pretty rubbish, actually, Steve. I mean, to be perfectly honest.
And we've got a pit stop for the second place car of Gavin Cox. Just as we called about the tyres, Gavin Cox has gone to the pits.
That's an interesting call, because this is only lap 18 of 32, so you've just passed half race distance, and they've gone in for a pit stop. And there's not the only one by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's a drive-through being served as we thought for the Jared Hatfield car. A little bit shocked that Gavin's pitting, so if Gavin's pitting, that would tend to tell me that most people...
Rob's in too.
Yeah, I was going to say that would tell us that most people should be pitting, because Gavin is well known as one of the easier drivers on the tyres, and Rob's a big lock-up on the way, and Kinnaman in as well, his Xbox teammate. Dave looks like he's made a lot of time up on the pits on entry there over the Rob Herbert car, so it'll be interesting to see where Rob comes out versus the Gavin Cox car. So this is the race for the lead. So Gavin's down the back straight now, so we'll just stay with Gavin while Rob takes his pit stop and see where they come out relative to each other. Looks like a clean...
I think what you'll find, Steve, this is probably a knock-on effect from the safety car early on in the race. Everyone probably just a bit of a splash and dash now.
There's been instant. Kai Turner and Norman Clark both are off at this point, right in front of Gavin Cox as well, as Kai's come into the pits, and the Norman Clark car as well. So we've just got Gavin coming round and the exit of the pits there, and I tell you what, he's going for the lead. Here we go.
Side. Oh, I can't
and he's got it.
Oh, what a move.
Rob Herbert made a mistake on the entry to pits. We just caught the back end of it, but Dave Kinnaman is a winner out of this as well. He's right up the back of that. So what are SRT going to do with the Dan Stevens car?
Oh, do you pull it in now, or do you try and wait a little bit?
You get it in now.
Thank you. That's straight from the team boss.
And he's in. And he's in and stopped. So this could be a lead change here again, because if Dan had a decent gap over Dave Kinnaman, if we use Dave Kinnaman as the reference point, be interesting to see where they come out. So the Stevens car is still getting serviced, and it's off and running now, and Dan's lost a lot of time compared to the rest of them. In fact, Norman Clark looks like he's got out in front. Well, I never try. That was a bit unexpected to say the least, and Gavin Cox triggered that, and they're all in an enormous amount of traffic. Look at this.
Oh my god, this is... I'll tell you what, it's gone crazy. The race has gone absolutely crazy.
Good driving there by both of the Kai Turner car and the Just Cooper Volvo. Get out of the way, not compromise a little bit. Rob Herbert, using his usual racer's instinct, was straight down there as well. And the person's lost out in that the most is Dave Kinnaman, the third car in line, which is a little bit unfortunate for Dave because he was right there. So the SRT Nissan almost getting mugged by both of the 555 Racing Falcons.
Wow, this race has absolutely gone off. I mean, we had Kai sort of sitting around 10th on the lead lap, and all of a sudden one pit stop and he's back to 14th with a lap down.
Yeah.
There's just traffic everywhere. And we've had Jared Hatfield become a DNF.
Oh, that's unfortunate as well. And it's game on here as well, so the two leaders are really going for it. Scott Bainsworth is leading from Wayne Pengelly, Gavin Cox in third. Scott and Wayne have yet to make a pit stop. That's if they're going to make a pit stop. Some action further back there, we didn't catch it, but apologies, we're going to keep an eye on these two.
There's too many places to look, Steve. There's actually plenty everywhere.
It's a little bit unfortunate there that SRT kept Dan out for 2 laps more. Should have dived as soon as Rob dived, to be honest, but he's lost out to Dave Kinnaman. So we've got a real battle on. We've got a complete switch of first and second and third and fourth.
Into the pits.
Good driving from Wayne there as well to get out front and get a bit of show the pace that he's clearly got but not able to demonstrate every week so far. So there's an enormous gap between the Dave Kinnaman car and the Dan Stevens car, so I think we'll be asking some questions of the team as to why that happened.
I told you, Steve, that case of beer goes a long way, mate.
Well, they've got to do something right to get the case of beer now, so let's see. So we've got the number 1 car is chasing down the number 5 Xbox Racing Falcon, with the second of the 555 Racing cars in third, and the Dan Stevens car will be in fourth. Scott Bainsworth, is leading the race at the moment. And let's take a quick look at Scott. He's got good pace still. He's got 9 laps to go, so he could potentially try and run this, you know.
Well, it's going to come down to how much fuel he's got left. He's got an 11-second buffer, and if he can manage his tyres to get to last there and the fuel load, then yeah, he could storm home with this.
Potentially move on here. Neville Wilson car's in the way, just moving out now. Rob Herbert was trying to make the move, and they've hit each other.
He's touched.
Hopefully, don't back off too much, Rob.
Oh, that's almost hit. That did hinder the.
Look at this!
All over the bumper.
Yeah,
hold
Rob.
your breath, Steve. Hold your breath.
Yeah, I'm holding my breath. The blood pressure's going up as the laps widen down as well. So, Rob tapped the back of the number 5 car. Oh, and he's lots of oversteer coming on there. Keep it calm, Rob. Keep it calm.
That's one thing I've noticed with Rob is when the pressure does come on to him a little bit, he does like to light those rears up a bit and try and overdrive that rear end a bit.
Yeah, so the SS Commodore, Troy, is just back on the track there for a second.
Yeah, mate, definitely looks like he's finally made his way back on track, and this is definitely something that we're going to be looking forward to, is the battle that they're showing here between Dave Kinnaman and Rob Herbert. And we've obviously had Scott Bainsworth has made his pit stop and has moved Gavin Cox into the lead there with a 1.3 second gap to Rob Herbert, who's got Dave Kinnaman on 555 Racing as well, also hard on his tail. Then followed up in fourth is Dan Stevens, followed by Dan Ricard Pavel in position 5. Position 6, we've got Chris McCall. In position 7, we've got Jason Cooper. 8, Ian Hannon. 9, Norman Clark. 10, Scott Bainsworth. 11, Colin Burns. 12th, Wayne Pegnelli. 13th, Kai Turner. 14th, Roger Clark. 15th, Daryl Bennett, sorry for the pronunciation there. 16th, we've got Neville Wilson, and then the first of the non-finishers is 17th is Gerard Hatfield, and 18th, and our first lap withdrawal was Darren Goosey. And just looking back up towards Rob Herbert and Dave Kinnaman here, they're definitely... Oh, Rob's had a massive moment there. Looked out of turn 7, got the tail a bit happy, and you can see that Rob's really pushing this car along here, whether he's trying to gap Dave or catch Gavin. It's probably a win-win situation for him there, where you can do a little bit of both.
Yeah, so it's, there's still battle is being rejoined, first, second and third, so Rob's just closing up again on the number 5 Xbox Falcon.
Yeah, look, they're driving the tyres off these cars here, Steve, and Rob's really pushing that car hard. You can see the attitude of the car's a lot different.
So a little bit surprised there. So Dan Stevens is dropping further back, and is now going to get the attention of Dan Ricard Pavel in 5th as well. There's been a lot of action between the top 3 at this point as well, so surely they're slowing each other down a little bit by now.
Well, I think now that with Rob as close as what he is, he will be suffering a bit of that slowdown effect, because, I mean, anyone that races knows that when you're involved in a battle, you tend to be slower than what you are because you're trying to find a way past or look for a way past, and the car in front is pretty much dictating the pace for you.
Okay, so the top 3 are closed right up again. We've got one of the ASR Commodores, I think it's the Colin Burns car, is it, right in front as well, which Colin has shown good pace as well, so these 3 are going to have to battle to get past it while looking out for each other at the same time.
And that's where team radio comes in handy, where your team boss needs to be on the radio, letting you know sort of where your teammate is, and if he's coming up behind you, or even in this situation, for I think it's Colin there, he needs to be told that the faster guys are behind him, and maybe just sidestep it a little bit.
Well, to be fair, it's been an awesome race from Gavin since he hit the front as well. Rob's clearly trying to put as much pace out of that car as possible. He's looking to make himself as big as possible in the rear view mirrors as well, and he's come right close as well, but he's bringing Dave Kinnaman with him as well, so he's got to watch his front and his back.
Tremendous drive. Dave's got tremendous drive out of that hairpin.
Yeah, but can he use it? Let's see, and he's right up the back of the number 1 car now.
And here it is. It could be a move here, but I think Rob's positioned the car perfectly right in the middle of the track.
Yeah, he's just at the back end of that Nissan, just in enough position to upset Dave, trying to get the entry into that corner. And Rob's trying to get the drive off that last corner as well, to try and get right up the back of the number 5 Xbox Falcon, down this back straight as well, to try and make a move into the turn 4 hairpin. But I suspect if he's going to make a move into turn 4 hairpin, he's going to have to go, and he's pushing it really hard down the inside right now, and it's on.
Oh, this will be a move.
I was just about to say that Gavin's not going to give him the inside, so... Oh, and the teammates are going at it now as well.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
Oh, here we go. And, Dave's going with the outside, following the Rob Herbert Nissan around as well. He's going for second position, and he's backed out of it as well, unfortunately. This is not...
That reminded me of Mills this morning, Steve.
This is not over yet.
We've got 2 laps to run. I think.
Yeah, two laps.
Hopefully, he'll show a clean pair of heels and pull away. But one thing I have noticed is he's suffering with drive out of turn 7. That car is getting tank happy out of there.
Yeah, so it's still on as well. That was interesting as well. The teammates were going at it. If there hadn't been teammates, there'd have been a move on there, I'd have thought.
I would have definitely thought so. And Gavin really closing up there in braking into turn 4.
Yeah, I think Gavin, after that pit stop, has found the pace that he needs as well, so he's trying to get back up there. Rob will have taken quite a bit out of that car as well, trying to get past him as well. That was some awesome driving from 2 of the very best in the series.
Yeah, it definitely was. It really was. I mean, and it's another thing too, is how much has he hurt the tyres on that car from that battle?
Yeah, it looks like he's able to pull out of enough of a gap, and we're on the final lap now, and they've not been able to get past the 222 car, so that just shows you that what was going on there took everything out of the cars.
Yeah, they definitely haven't got much left in them. And it's clearly taken some time out of Gavin too, because he's really fallen all the way back.
Yeah, apologies. That car, I think, is actually the Wim Pengelly car. Yes, it is. It's the Wim Pengelly car.
No, that's fine then.
Yeah, we did notice both very nice looking cars, the Rockstar ASR cars for the rest of the season now. Nice to see them out on track as well.
Yeah, it is. It's sensational, and clearly they've had a good painter work on him, even though I think he's a Scotsman.
Yes, exactly. And there we have it, the win by Rob Herbert. That did not look like it was going to happen at the back end of the race. Yeah, well done to the top three there as well. Gavin Cox second, and David Kinnaman in third. Dan Stevens some 12 seconds back in fourth position. So that second pit stop didn't go so well for Dan.
No, it definitely didn't. And I'll tell you what, this race has definitely thrown up a whole world of difference. You've had the likes of Kai Turner, who's really one of the front runners over the last few weeks, really struggle and not even finish in the top 10.
Yeah, exactly. So well done to everybody there. We'll get them down in a second for a little bit of a chat. So just appearing there on your screen is the results for the race. So we've Rob Herbert first, Gavin Cox second, Dave Kinnaman third, Dan Stevens fourth, Dan Ricard Pavel in fifth, Chris McCall sixth, Jason Cooper seventh, Ian Hannon back up into eighth, Norman Clark down in ninth, Scott Bainsworth 11th, Colin Burns 11th, Kai Turner 12th, Wayne Pengelly 13th, Roger Clark 14th, Darrell Bennett 15th, Neville Wilson 16th, and Jared Hatfield 17th with the two retirements, and Darren Goosey as well. So we'll just leave that on the screen there. We'll get the top three down for a quick chat.
Parabolica moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve. Ferrolari moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve.
Yeah, mate, that's okay. It's just that I'd followed him for 10 laps and eventually lost the lead to Rob, and then you put a blue flag out. I was a little bit upset.
Hi guys, and welcome to the comms box, the top three of the race there. Fantastic race. Guys, it all was very tight at the end there. If we just come to you first of all, Dave, you looked like you had the best pit stop out of anyone there, made up the most ground.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, considering in practice in a week I got drive-throughs on 9 out of 10 attempts, so I must have just pushed it perfect today.
Yeah, you must have got the drive-throughs out of the way in practice, so congratulations on third, well done. And over to you, Gavin. Gavin, you grabbed the lead with that super pit stop there. It looked like you were going to be able to bring it home at one point. How was it for you?
Steve, a little disappointing, mate. I didn't get the win.
Yeah, I'll say as well, it was a good tight battle between the three of you. Rob, for you, how was it?
Yeah, no, it was really hard work. Pretty fortuitous at the end there. We had a bit of a run-in with a back marker, which didn't make it easy for anybody. I think we all would have hoped if that person would have maybe jumped out the way, seeing that we're all sort of having a pretty ding-dong battle, but I'll take it. I was being pretty careful around Gavin as well, because I know he's obviously running for special points this round, so I don't want to be that guy who does anything stupid around him either.
Yeah, fair play. So what happened on your pit stop, Rob? It looked like you maybe had a little bit of an instant on the way in.
I was just pressing too many buttons. I was just doing too many things, and just caught the grass, and it was just stupid. So, just too many buttons, chatting to too many people, all that sort of stuff.
Well done, guys. Thanks a lot. So we'll just let you back down again and in for race 2.
Thanks, Steve.
Ferrolari moved to V8 Supercars by Steve. Parabolica moved to V8 Supercars by Steve.
So Troy, very upset.
Moved to V8 Supercars by Steve.
Apologies there while the chat sorts stuff out. So, a very upset Gavin Cox there. The win was definitely on, and yeah, he's right. He did get completely compromised by a back marker, which is really unfortunate.
And that, I guess, comes down to the fact that the blue flag wasn't shown, or the back marker just wasn't watching his mirrors and seeing that these faster guys were coming up.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an issue. So we're over to race 2. Race 2 is the longer of our 2 races. I'll just find out how many laps for you all in a second. Race 2, there's...
I think it's 50 laps, is it, Steve?
50 laps, that's a monster amount of laps, so that should be good to see. What I was going to say is you've got the reverse grid as well here, and we've seen what happened in race 1 with the start, so what's the story with that?
Interesting, I think it's probably the word you're looking for.
Yeah, so as normal, we'll follow some of the top guys from the back off the grid as well. So apologies to whoever starts on pole, but I think the real action's going to be at the back, so we'll have that for our viewers. As we said, it's a very tight grid to get off as well. You've got to be so careful of the cars around you. There's not very much space. There's camber changes over the hill into the first right-hander, and then into the left-hander in the second corner. A lot of potential for action, a lot of potential for damage as well. If you're the Dan Stevens and the Gavin Cox car, doubly so, because that'll take you out of points for Adelaide as well.
Well, that's exactly right. Now with the reverse grid and these boys in for double points, it's real pressure on them to cleanly get as far up as they can. And the further you look up through the field, it's you've got the likes of Kai Turner, one of the traditionally faster guys. He's going to be up the pointy end, so it's going to be interesting to see how these boys work their way through.
Yeah, excellent. So we'll just put the results from race 1 back up on the track there, on the vid there. So we'll have Neville Wilson starting in pole position, I believe. That's Neville's the car, I believe, that was in the incident with Gavin Cox as well. He's one of our less experienced drivers as well, so there's a lot of pressure on him to get that car off the grid.
And that's where we could find a problem with someone that will probably feel the pressure a little bit, being an inexperienced driver. No offense to him at all. Please don't take it that way. But the pressure really is on to get the car off the grid, especially when you're the first in the firing line. Well,
if we look at the best lap for that race from Neville, for instance, it's 55.739 seconds as opposed to the fastest outright lap by Rob Herbert of 50.542. That's a 5 second a lap gap speed difference. So into turn 4, if he keeps in front, it's going to be hairy, to say the least.
Well, definitely. I mean, you look at the average there at 5 seconds a lap. That's 10 laps, and he's getting lapped. So in this longer stint of the race, it could be a case of he could be 5 laps down. So he clearly hasn't either come to grips with the car or the track or both.
Okay, so we've got Darren Goose from DSA out on track as well. Darren's obviously going to try and get as much lap time in as he can because he was out at the first corner of the first race. So we'll just leave Darren on screen. With apologies, we'll just go for a quick break before the 50 lap second race. So back with you all in a moment. So, welcome back to our coverage from Symmons Plains. We're less than a minute away from the start of race 2. So 30 seconds hopefully until the start of race 2. This is the longer of our races with reverse grid, so the results of the first round, everybody gets reversed, and we're into race 2, which is a 50 lap race with one compulsory pit stop. The pits open on lap 15 and close in lap 40. You can pit at any time you wish, but for it to count for your compulsory pit stop, it must be done between lap 15 and lap 40, so we'll keep an eye on that for everybody.
And that's one thing that we saw, I think it was actually at Adelaide there, Steve, where Dave, no one was aware that there was a pit window opening, and Dave thought he got lucky by pulling an early stop, but it turned out he didn't.
Yeah, so that would have been a bit of chaos there, but it's something to keep an eye on. So if you have an incident in the first few laps, there's quite a significant gap to get to lap 15. Obviously, some of the compulsory pit stop windows are the likes of lap 5 to lap 20 or something like that, but this one, you've got to wait till lap 15 to get to that first, to be allowed to pit. So if you have an incident...
It's a long way. It's a really long way, but I think that comes down to the fuel burn as well.
Okay, so we'll just take a quick check through the grid. Neville Wilson on pole position, Darrell Bennett in second in the Volvo, Roger Clark in third. Roger was a bit absent, should we say, for the last race. Didn't have the pace, certainly not the pace of his teammate there.
No, you definitely didn't see Roger up the front or anywhere really to be noticed. But in saying that, Roger really is the type of driver that when he's on, but when he's off, he's really off.
Yeah, so we're just going to keep an eye on the back of the grid. Obviously that's where the action's going to be coming from. One thing I will make note of is Kai Turner starting from 5th position. The 3rd and 4th positions are the two, 4th position is the Wayne Pengelly car, and the 6th position is the Colin Burns car. We know these three have got speed. If they can unlock it in this track at this race, they've got the potential to do very well out of this because of the starting position. So worth noting that those guys could potentially be in the box seat, but let's see what we're doing from the back.
Well, that's exactly right. You've got 3 cars in the top 6 there that have got speed to burn. They really do, and hopefully they can show a clean pair of heels and get through any unscathed and put themselves in a bit of a gap, and hopefully the reverse grid slows down the faster guys at the back there, like your Rob Herbert, Gavin Cox, Dan Stevens and Dave Kinnaman.
So one thing to note, this is a very, very slow formation lap as well. They're not going to be able to get much heat in the tyres, so a little bit of inexperience from Neville at the front there. Needs to be moving a little bit quicker to allow the boys to get some heat in these tyres. So we've got the, shall we say, super teams at the back, and they're both in sort of team formation as well. We've got SRT and 555 Racing. No love lost between the teams, obviously, so it'd be interesting to see these boys going at it to try and get back up the front.
Well, definitely, and it's definitely a battle, and you know that was thrown out there very early on with the, I think it was the first pre-season event where Gavin Cox made it quite known to SRT that they were gunning for him.
Yeah, and are they ever? They've doing very well. Good job by both teams as well. A little bit of issues with both pit stops of the SRT car, so hopefully they get it right in this race. But yeah, so we've got the Dave Kinnaman leading the team charge. Sorry, it should be Dan Stevens actually. They're out of position on the formation lap. So we've got Dan Stevens leading the team charge. Then we've got the Dave Kinnaman and the Xbox Falcon of Gavin Cox, and then the Jägermeister #1 Nissan of the reigning V8 Supercars champion, all coming from the back. Darren Goosey from DSA, who's shown good pace, but this track seems to not like Darren.
No, it's quite well known that he's the pit stop penalty king at Symmons Plain, which we actually think Dave Kinnaman in last night's TCR actually may have stolen the title of most penalties in a race.
Yeah, it's not something you want. So 50 laps to go. We're keeping an eye on the back of the grid because that's where the faster guys, with respect, are starting from. And it's one of the hardest grids to get going off. And here we go. So it's green, 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 green. And they're all going. And Rob Herbert's made a good start. So is Dave Kinnaman as well. So the Xbox Falcon and the Moigers Nissan are... Oh, and there's an incident right in front of them already. The very tight grid.
It was the Neville Wilson car.
Really?
Yeah, he was off track there and caused a few people a bit of issues.
From pole position, he's managed to get this far back already. That's ridiculous. So, okay. Yes, obviously caused issues. Rob Herbert and Dave Kinnaman aren't messing around. They're both moving up through the traffic nicely. They're up to the back of the Vegemite race cars and they're side by side. Dave didn't see Rob there, moved over slightly.
Well, it's on already. I mean, it's there's too many places to look, Steve. It really is. It's you got your faster guys coming through. You got your slower guys getting mixed up. It's the advantage, I guess, of a reverse grid race.
Yeah, it's an advantage for us. So we've got the two SRT cars together chasing down the 55 Shell Helix Falcon of Dave Kinnaman. All of these guys know each other very well in real life as well as on the track. So interesting to see how they deal with each other.
Definitely, and look, they all like a good, hard, clean race, and don't expect anything less, and they could get some quite amazing moves.
Big incident. One of the Vegemite cars tagged the Jason Cooper Volvo and into his teammate as well, which has allowed Dave Kinnaman to get up alongside the Volvo, and he is not giving it any room at this moment in time either. And Rob Herbert is trying to come through behind as well, using the slipstream of that Falcon to get round. And he's also trying to make a move at the same time, so he switched back to behind the Volvo and he's going to duck out, get in behind the Falcon and try and make it through. Will he make it through? Not at this point in time. So Kinnaman's managed to show a clean pair of heels there. He's up the back of the two Vegemite racing cars. Both cars are very fast as well, the Vegemite cars. So, and there's one of the SR cars off on the left. And there's a couple of hits into the first corner there from the Volvo into the back of the Falcon. That Falcon is up the back of the Vegemite racing cars as well. He's trying to make a move. So these guys, believe it or not, are up to 7th and 8th already.
It's sensational. And Rob seems to have been slowed there, and Dan's gone around the outside. Is there an incident between him and the Volvo there?
I think so. Yeah, that has cost Rob Herbert quite a bit there.
Well, and you've just seen Gavin Cox take a position there too, and 3 wide, it doesn't work.
Yeah, Rob Herbert has obviously got caught up with the Volvo, and it's causing him all sorts of issues getting through. So the 33 car is through. Gavin Cox, who was a bit of the slower starter, but it's working out nicely for him now, is right up the back of the Dan Stevens car. Rob Herbert behind is trying to get past the Volvo still. That has knocked Rob down to 11th, and it's all breaking loose for Rob at this point.
You got the Oranga boys there together.
Yeah, so what I will make note of is we've got the ASR car out in the lead and doing very well. The 111 car, I did say that the Colin Burns, Kai Turner and Wayne Pengelly cars have got good drivers aboard who can show a lot of pace when they need to as well, and they are currently doing it. Wayne had an issue that we've seen as we were coming past on the cameras as well, so we're not quite sure what happened to Wayne. He's down in 16th now, but the first of the two cars, Colin Burns, is 1.6 seconds ahead of the SA car. Now we're back to Kinnaman, who's trying to get round this Vegemite racing car, but he's going to have a job because Dan Rickard Pavel is no slouch on track.
It's definitely very, very tightly bunched group there, from pretty much Norm all the way down to pretty much... Well,
look at this, look at this. We've got all hell breaking loose behind. We've got the Dan Stevens car with the Rob Herbert car now clear of the Volvo, bringing the Mercedes with it right up the back. All 4 are together on track as well. Kinnaman cannot get past that Vegemite racing car, which is going to bite him in the ass if he's not careful, because here comes the 33 car.
If you blink, you're going to miss that there's a car behind you. There's just when you think you're safe and you can go back to racing, next thing you know, there's either someone in your mirrors or someone in front of you. That's the disadvantage of such a short track, is you're always going to have someone either right next to you, right in front of you, or right behind you. It's
amazing to see these 4 together again. Rob Herbert has obviously made the ground back up and is trying to make a move right the outside. And got a little bit of oversteer. Well, when I say a little bit, I mean a huge amount. And he's just kept it together as well. He is desperate to try and get past Gavin Cox and get right up there as well. This is costing them all time, and it's looking good for Colin Burns, who's now out to a 3-second lead over Kai Turner. And the Xbox Falcon is down the inside of the 33 SRT Nissan, and Dan gets tapped, and that's a little bit unfortunate there. That was just a racing incident, I would say. And Rob Herbert is taking advantage of that, going around the Xbox Falcon as well.
And late break there from.
Yeah, so Dan Stevens keeps his 8th position and has shown a clean pair of heels. Now he's disappearing off up the road a little bit. Gavin Cox has been completely compromised by that incident. He's obviously had to back out of it to make sure he didn't turn the car completely and then cop a penalty from the stewards. You wouldn't think both these drivers are racing for double points, would you?
No, definitely not. They're definitely not shying away from a battle, are they, Steve?
Not at all. Bainsworth is going after this 10 car as well. I've just seen him clip the wall on the inside, trying to get the best exit out of it. The Oranga Racing boys have definitely got the pace, and they're keeping everything behind them at the moment. So we've now got Roger Clark, who's dropped to 6th. He's got, it's still to be decided at the moment. The Vegemite car's got past of Dan Ricard Pavel up into 5th. Dave Kinnaman is trying to come with as well, so we've got a little bit of a team battle going on behind. So we've got Dan Stevens and Rob Herbert right up the back of Dan Stevens. The Vegemite car has made the pass and is starting to pull away a little bit. Remains to be seen if Dave Kinnaman can make the same move. It's obviously he's been stuck behind this battle for quite a few laps now. We're already up to lap 7.
And again, it just really takes back to the fact that it is such a small track that you're always going to have a battle somewhere with someone, whether it be lap traffic or...
Watch the teammates. Dave Kinnaman's made that move now as well. He's got past Roger Clark. Dan Stevens trying to make as much as possible, and they've clipped each other as well. I think the SRT boys, number 1 cars into the quarter panel of the 33.
Oh, Jesus. It's just happening everywhere, Steve. You don't know where to look and when to look.
These boys definitely playing for keeps. The 9 car is not letting that 55 car go, and he's down the inside. He's at the back out of it a little bit as the cars come across. The 33 is now right up the back of the 9, with the number 1 car coming along as well.
And that's the advantage here, is if you can get a good run, you're going to drag your teammate or the car behind you with you through on the pass as well, majority of the time.
Yeah, these boys need to get on it. So there we go. Dan Stevens moving to protect the inside. Rob Herbert's going to have to go the long way if he wants to. Oh, Dan's actually lifted off to let his teammate through there. Yeah, they need to get on. He needs to be careful of that fit. Number 5 Xbox Racing Falcon, that needs to get on with it as well. So we've got the Vegemite Racing team. It's 4th and 5th together now as well. Scott Bainsworth has just dropped off the back of Norman Clark a little bit now. 7 seconds off the lead. Dan Ricard Pavel is only a second behind and closing fast and bringing Dave Kinnaman along with him.
And that's one thing that I think Dave missed definitely in the round at Adelaide, was having Gavin there to just, I don't know whether it's that steady influence or just the calming fact that he knows he's there.
Yeah, and I can just see the whites of Roger Clark's eyes in that number 9 car as he's just coming across. He's got the champion tucked right up under the rear wing of him, trying to make a move. He's going to go wide to try and cut in for a tighter exit and get a better drive out of it. He's got an awesome drive out of there, but Roger's also got a decent drive too. 33 car is up the back of the number 1 car as well, and Gavin Cox is in 10th position, coming along for the ride with these two. And meanwhile, back at the front, the 111 ASR racing car is driving to the book. What an excellent drive from Colin there, and is looking really good on track.
Yeah, he's showing his cracking times there, and it could be a case of, is he overdriving the car? Could the car have no tyres left? But it seems to be the average pace here. Everyone seems to be running at about a 51.
From what I've seen in Colin in pre-season and Wayne as well, neither of them tend to overdrive the car. They've got a very good rhythm when they get going as well, and as we hinted at on the grid, that the Kai Turner, Colin Burns and Wayne Pengelly car were in a good position to get out front and keep going, and they're not slowing down. They're definitely keeping the pace.
Going around at the hairpin, Steve.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's see what we got. So we're just on board with Dave now, coming into the hairpin. He's trying to get under the Vegemite Racing car. He's gone to the outside. and he's turned in to try and get it in. Oh, and he's out there running with the Vegemite racing car as well. That's very hard to call that one. Let's watch it again. So he's trying to cut in to get a better exit out of this corner. Stewards will be looking at this one, so he goes out wide, cuts in, but the Vegemite racing car's already there, and he just clips the quarter panel. Don't like to call it out on air, but I would think that will be a penalty for Dave Kinnaman, to be fair.
Oh, it's a shame. It's going to be a harsh one, and that'll be two events in a row that Dave's copped himself a drive-through for a driving infringement.
Yes, it could be interesting. There's other factors at work here, Troy, as you well know. It could be an outstanding issue from a previous series, which might be taken into account. Hopefully not for Dave, but we've got the Dan Stevens cars dropped right off the back of his teammate now in 6th, and he's getting driven over by the Xbox Racing Falcon, which is anxious to get on there and get back up to resume the battle with Rob Herbert.
Just in regards to the Dave Kinnaman, I did have words with one of our race officials there, our esteemed Bruce Duncan, and he said it's only for the TDU series, not the actual any other series that precedes it.
Oh, that's a relief then. That keeps it nice and straight as well. So yeah, they'll just, if there is a penalty, it'll be a standard in-race penalty here. So we'll see what happens. Oh, what's happened to Colin Burns? Oh
looks like
no!
Neville Wilson?
Are you serious?
Could have been an incident. I did see Neville Wilson off
Well,
track
we've
there.
got the replay. So Colin out in front on his own, driving very well, good pace. Car looks good, and he's coming into the back end of the hairpin. Oh, he's done it himself.
Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame.
He's just locked up the rears on entry. We did point that out in the qualifying as well, that you need to be so careful. And there's a racing brain if I've ever seen one. Get in the pits. You're almost there. Do it. Get the pit stop out of the way and get back on track. Well done.
Yeah, unfortunately, but he's obviously coming too soon because that's only lap 13 down.
Well done, Troy. You're absolutely right. So that's actually not going to count. Thanks for pointing that out, but I would have probably done the same, and I'm sure you would have yourself, because you're not actually looking at lap numbers. You're thinking, made a mistake, I'm right by the pits, get in, see if we can get away with it. But yeah, unfortunately that's not going to count.
But in saying that too, Steve, after speaking with a few of the boys and having some time with my boys, especially Kai, there's actually talk that you may not be able to do this on a one-stop anyway.
That's a very good point. Actually, we had the last race where they had to stop as well, even though there wasn't a compulsory pit stop. So yeah, it might be a two-stop race, and he might still be in a decent position. So where's he dropped down to overall? He's down in 17th position, and he spun again on the way out. When it's going, it doesn't go for you, does it?
No, sometimes it is a case of when it rains it pours, and it seems to be like that at the moment for Colin.
Really unfortunate, but Colin, when you're watching this back later, you clearly have good pace, as has Wayne, both of the SR cars. You just need to get a bit of luck.
And that's it. Sometimes if the luck goes your way, you'll have one of those good weekends, and sometimes luck doesn't get your way. We have seen that happen to Dan Stevens in pre-season, where he's had a bad luck run, and it just really screwed him for that whole weekend.
Yeah, so a little bit unfortunate there. So we've got, let's look through our top three. So we've got Kai Turner out in front. Again, as we said, it's one of the guys we picked off the grid that was in a good position to make up for the previous race. Out in front, he's got a 1.27 second lead over Norman Clark in second. Norman's driving an excellent race as well. He's now got Dan Ricard Pavel for company in third from Vegemite Racing, the 91 car. Dan showing plenty of pace as well. And then our current champion and race winner from the last race, starting from the back of the grid, up to fourth by now, Rob Herbert in the number 1 Jägermeister SRT Nissan. Fifth position, we have the second of the SRT Nissans and Muggers, number 33 car of Dan Stevens. In fifth position, 5.7 seconds off the lead. He has Gavin Cox for close company, as he has for most of this race as well. So these boys made it through eventually, and they're right up the front again.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't take long, and I guess that's probably the advantage of having someone that is so quick on such a short track that you're going to be able to well, actually not so much a short track, but such a condensed starting grid that you can jump a lot of positions in a very short space of time.
Yeah, to be fair, we did watch them coming through as well, and they've had to battle for every inch of track as well. There was no easy...
There's an incident, and Norm Clark has been turned around at turn 7. And he's collected Dan Stevens. Oh, it's all on.
Oh no, so we're just getting the replay now. So we've got Norman to the inside, Dan Ricard Pavel to the outside there. And the Vegemite car goes down the inside. And, you know, that move was legitimate from what I can see there. Oh, yeah, he's just collected Dan Stevens. Let's see if Dan got too much damage on that one. So just going to replay the 33 car now. He's minding his own business coming round here. And he's going to come into the incident, so you can see he hasn't noticed yet. No brake lights on. Yeah. Really? You're supposed to hold your brakes when something happens. And he lost that position.
Clearly Norma hasn't there, and he's just rolled back into the racing line.
Yeah, you can't afford to be doing that. So we're...
I guess you could call that a rookie mistake.
Yeah, Norm's got plenty of experience though, to be fair. Should know better than that, but hey, it is what it is at the minute. So Dan Stevens has lost 4th position now. He's behind the Xbox Falcon, so he's got a lot of work to do. He's got to be careful because he is running for double points as well. So have we had anything against the Dave Kinnaman car so far? I haven't seen anything being announced or popped up yet. He's down in 8th position.
No, looking through the chat now, I cannot see anything.
Yeah, so we've got Rob Herbert up to 3rd now, chasing down Dan Ricard Pavel. He was involved in that incident with Norman Clark. Just our initial look there looked like he was fully alongside the Oranga racing car when it appeared to turn in and collect them both and cause all havoc on the track. So unfortunate there for everyone involved. So I suppose we're really going to see what this Vegemite tastes like now, because we've got our current V8 Supercars champion is now wedged up the back of that car, and Dan is also trying to go for the lead against Kai Turner. He's closing him down at quite a rate of knots as well, so this is going to be on for the lead battle in a second. Yeah, so Kai Turner leading. Dan Ricard Pavel has gone for the pits actually, so it's well within the pit window. So potentially a good call there. He's just taken his pit stop on lap 20. The pit window is open. So Troy, you've made a good call there. I think this might be more than a one pit stop race. Everybody seems to be stopping a little bit earlier than we would have expected for a one stopper.
I would have to agree there, because unfortunately I've had a drop out here and I'm just coming back into the game. But yeah, if everyone's making pit stops now, it's definitely not the time to be doing it on a one stop.
Yeah, that is true. So we've got Kai Turner is leading 1.2 seconds ahead of Rob Herbert now as well. Rob and Kai yet to make their pit stops. Gavin Stevens is in 3rd. Gavin Cox. Gavin Cox is in 3rd. Dan Stevens is in 4th. Losing a bit of time. Dave Kinnaman, the recovering Dave Kinnaman after that incident, is now up to 5th. So it'll be interesting to see when these guys decide to make their pit stops. So the first car that has made its compulsory pit stop that counts is in 11th position.
And that could be as a result of that incident he had early on that turn 7 there.
Yes, potentially he could have decided to jump for it and get out of the way. So we've got the Dave Kinnaman car in 4th, Scott Bainsworth recovering from the incident with Kinnaman in 5th position, Chris McCall in the first of the Volvos, very good drive there from Chris, up in 6th. And oh mate, I'll shut my mouth one of these days. He's just spun at the hairpin almost just as we get cut to him. And then the second of your DSA drivers, who was out in the first corner incident on the first race, Darren Goosey driving a very nice race, 22 seconds off the lead, up in 8th. Roger Clark down in 9th, and as we say, the first of our pit stoppers in 10th position now, Dan Ricard Pavel.
Yeah, it's it's all going to be happening. I definitely think you've made the right call there in definitely being way too early, I think, for a one-stopper.
Well, we're getting into the window for the one-stopper, so you need to go, I would say, and I'm sure you would say as well, to get to at least lap 25, so you're at half distance before you try and make the stop. Otherwise, you're disjointed on one run of the tyres, aren't you?
Definitely, you don't want to. You want to try and definitely split your tyre run even down the middle if you're going to go on the one stopper. But in saying that, it's a question of fuel burn. I think really is going to be what dictates your 1 or 2 stops.
Yeah, so we're on ×2 for fuel burn and ×2 for tyre wear as well on the server settings. So, yeah, that could play into a factor as well.
Definitely will.
So we've got Kai Turner under pressure from Rob Herbert. It's good to see Kai has found the pace again for this second race. He looked completely out of sorts in the first race, but he's managed to get her going, and he's up the front and holding the lead at the moment from the Rob Herbert car. It's 0.5 seconds back. Third position, Gavin Cox cleared all the drama earlier on, and he's up into third, 4.4 seconds off the lead. Dave Kinnaman, we're still waiting to see if anything's going to be assessed against him. I think it probably won't be now, or it would have already been dropped out. Is in fourth position on track according to my timing, but Dan Stevens is in front of him. Dan Stevens has already made a pit stop, so that's interesting.
That is a very interesting call. So clearly Dan's going for a 2-stop strategy there.
Well, he's right on the edge, isn't he, of making it a 1-stop actually, so maybe that little off-track incident took a little bit more out of the tyres than he would have liked, which caused, punched early.
Yeah, it could have been, but it's hard to tell. Really, I'm trying to get a feel here by lap times on what these guys are thinking, and they're not telling me much. They're telling me that everyone's doing 51s and 52s, which is identical pace to what they were doing in that short stint.
So we have Kai Turner in the pits, so let's see if DSA have got this right on the pits this time. They've had a few issues in pre-season, as we know, so he's just exiting the pits as long as he exits well ahead of Dan Stevens and Dan Ricard Pavel. No, Pavel's come round and taken that position from him. So that's interesting.
Obviously longer fill.
Well, you'd have thought surely Dan Ricard Pavel would have had the longer fill, but maybe, as we don't know yet, is he going to go 2-stopper or 1-stopper?
Judging on that fill time, I dare say Dan will probably go for that 2-stop because it really was too short of fill for him not to be able to do it.
And Rob Herbert's in the pits as well, bang on lap 25. Drive-through for Norman Clark for the incident on Dan Ricard Pavel and Dan Stevens. It's quite
an interesting call.
Quite a long stop here for that number 1 Nissan.
It's a hefty load of fuel, and I think that sees Kai pass him as well, does it?
We've got Gavin Cox exiting the pits as well, has come out. Well, that's interesting. Dan Stevens has managed to get past the Gavin Cox car in the pits.
Well, maybe your boys have woken up there in the pits and
or
the fingers out.
Or they're going for a 2-stop try with a short fill.
Yeah, look, this strategy this round is really hard to pick because of the fuel burn, Steve.
Well,
I mean, I'm really having a hard time picking it.
Well, if you look at that, Rob Herbert in the number 1 car has come out significantly behind the DSA car in front, so there's definitely a change in fuel strategies amongst these 2 cars that we can tell for definite.
Definitely. I think you'll find that these 2 have definitely gone for a full fuel load for this second stint and try and bring it home on this 1 stop.
Yeah, but when you look at it though, Kai's got the undercut. Has he got the undercut because he's put less fuel in?
It's hard to say. It's not much of an undercut, but could it be just the fresher tyres?
Yeah, we didn't notice the drop off in lap time actually from Rob for the 2 laps longer than he went either. So he went bang on lap 25. Kai went lap 23, I believe. So it's going to be tough to get home from lap 23 potentially.
I don't think you can, Steve. I really don't think you can make it home from 23 unless you're really short shifting that car and really coasting it into turns.
So Our whole complexion of the race has changed again. Everybody has made at least one stop now. So in the lead, 1.4 seconds in the lead, is the 91 Vegemite racing car Dan Ricard Pavel. We suspect Dan may have to make a second pit stop. In second position is Kai Turner, 1.5 seconds back from Team DSA in the Drift School Australia Holden Commodore. Kai is on the borderline of not having to make another stop. We suspect he probably won't have to. Rob Herbert in third, who was leading coming into that, 2.5 seconds back. We're pretty sure Rob won't have to make a second pit stop, so he should be able to race Kai to the finish. Jason Cooper in as well, so that's Jason's come from absolutely nowhere to get himself up into fourth position and is looking strong as well. Dan Stevens in fifth, who jumped quite a few cars in the pit stop round. We suspect, would we be right, Troy, that Dan potentially has to do a second stop?
I'd be pretty confident saying yes, he will be having a two-stop race. But he's probably the only car I can definitely say will be a two-stopper.
What about Dan Ricard Pavel in the lead? I would say he has to make a second stop because he went early as well.
Yeah, well, how early was he, Steve?
He was about lap 20, so 5 to 6 laps earlier than the rest.
Yeah, I think anyone that stopped anything sort of south of 23, 24, you're definitely looking at a two-stop race.
So in sixth position we've got Jared Hatfield in the Mercedes. Jared has shown tremendous pace as well, and he's also shown that he's not going to take it on track as well. So Gavin Cox, who's coming up to try and get past him, he's going to have a battle on his hands to get round this Merc.
He's definitely a surprise package there. He's definitely been one of the guys that's shown some good pace out of the box, and Gavin's no slouch. He definitely knows how to steer a supercar, that's for sure.
Yeah, we know that for a fact. Very annoyed about the first race they didn't come out with a win. A little bit of a backmarker issue. Backmarker gets right out of his way this time, so he's coming up against the Mercedes. And then we've got the second of the 555 racing cars in 8th position, Dave Kinnaman, who had that issue with the Scott Bainsworth, I believe, Vegemite racing car early in the race. No penalty has been assessed that we've seen, so Dave continues on in 8th position, not quite where he'd want to be, I'm sure. 9th position, Ian Hannon. Ian's been a little bit anonymous in this race, to be honest. He's just keeping it nice and straight and getting into the points. And then in 10th position we have the Wayne Pengelly car. Wayne was one of the drivers, Troy, that we picked up at the start that could potentially be right out in front and stay there, but he seemed to have an issue. As we were passing another incident on track, he was off to the left and looked like the car was stopped, but he's clearly got it going again. It's unfortunate ASR just can't catch a break at the minute, can they?
No, ASR, they seem to be... They're thereabouts, and there's always an issue or there's something that just doesn't fall their way, I guess, during the race, and it's definitely sometimes you got to make your own luck, and these guys just can't seem to be making enough.
So we got Scott Bainsworth in 11th position, recovering after that incident earlier on with Dave Kinnaman. 12th position is Chris McCall in the second of the Jandal Racing Volvos. His teammates up in 4th position. And we've got Colin Burns, the unlucky Colin Burns, in unlucky 13th. Real shame Colin was out in front leading, and do you know what, I would have said he could have won this race easily. But a little bit of an incident just where we're looking again. He's almost had another one on turn-in, a little bit of oversteer out, and he's going to have to make a second pit stop. We know that for definite because he wasn't in the right time window. And
No, he definitely wasn't.
And Darren Goosey down in 14th. It was doing significantly better earlier, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to Darren. He's only made the one stop, so he's clearly not run afoul of the stewards in the pits again this time. Darrell Bennett in one of the other Volvos in 15th. Norman Clark, following his drive-through, is in 16th, and he's yet to make a pit stop, I think, as well. So running this car really long, I would say, Troy.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, it's obviously they've got the fuel economy window worked out to a T because it's definitely. I think fuel burn is what's going to dictate your pit stop strategy, and these guys clearly got the economy on this car really on song.
Yeah, so 17th position is the second of the Oranga racing cars. These cars were right up the front earlier. It's just not gone well for them since.
No, there's been a few incidences. I mean, obviously that drive-through penalty for Norm there. Roger, again, it's just Roger. He'll give you 110% every week, and he's definitely a guy that once his rhythm's broken, it's very hard for him to find it again.
Yeah, so let's see if we can get on board, and let's get on board with the Dan Stevens car. We're on the helmet cam, so we're coming down the back straight towards turn 4, staying out to the right, trying to pass middle lap cars on the inside there. He's not stressing the car too much, looking for your braking marker on the right hand side. Get on the brakes, change down, make sure that car's not locking up on entry, and then get a good drive on the way out again down the back straight as well.
A bit too much wheel spin, I think, there, Steve.
Yeah, he's trying to get on the slipstream of the Volvo in front. He's got quite a distance to go. So drifting out to the left, come back over towards the right, look for your brake marker on the right hand side, which is about here. Get the gears changed down. Really a hard down change there for Dan to get the brake in from the engine as well. Around this, but you've got to be so careful. There's the oversteer kicked in straight away, just as I was about to say. And we're coming across the start finish straight, and that's a lap of Symmons Plains on board with Dan Stevens.
Yeah, it's a cracking lap, but definitely a couple of things you could pick up there for Dan to try and help him. There is maybe a short shift from 3rd to 4th to try and avoid that oversteer.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose the tyre life's changing on every corner at the moment at this point of the race as well. There's lots of rubber down on the track, which tends to rip any residual grip off your tyres as well. So you're just learning as you go, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, in this situation where you want to try and get your tyres to last an extended distance, the tyre spin that you're seeing Dan Stevens display there is not going to help his tyre life at all. So it's definitely, I'd say, with the aggressive nature he's driving the car, I'd just say it's 2 stops.
Jason Cooper in the pits, so the first of our 2 stoppers. I was about to say he's doing very well up in 4th position, but he's pinged for the second stop on lap 35. That'll give him 15 laps to go.
And I think that's probably a good strategy there. Definitely hit the second stop with 15 to go. Gives you a decent amount to attack with on fresh rubber. And
we've got Ian Hannon coming in behind as well. So yeah, 35 looks like a number a lot of people were driving to for 2 stops anyway. So Jason's dropped down to 11th at this point, and we look like we've got the Colin Burns car in as well. So this will be his actual compulsory pit stop, following the issues earlier on. And we've got Rob Herbert round Kai Turner as well now. So Rob Herbert's up into 2nd position and chasing after Dan Ricard Pavel. Lots of oversteer on that number 1 car there coming through.
And was that the second stop there for Dan Ricard as well?
Yes, Dan Ricard has just dropped into the pits for the second stop, as we thought. We suspected he was going to have to pit again. Let's run down. So Rob Herbert we don't think has to pit again. Kai Turner, we're not 100% sure. Potentially he's got to pit again. He was a lap or 2 laps earlier than Rob Herbert. Dan Stevens in 3rd position. Again, we're pretty sure Dan Stevens will have to pit again. He jumped quite a few cars in the stop, so maybe a bit of a short fill is an indication there, unless he was running with full tanks from word go. But even then, I don't think you get round this race, Troy, would you?
I don't think so. I think it might have been just that little bit too early to be able to do it on a 1 stop.
Yeah, I reckon you're right there. Gavin Cox is 9 seconds off the lead. I'd say 99% sure that Gavin's not going to stop again as well. So he's just driving to a number. He's got the number on his dash. That's what he needs to go to. He'll get to probably within 5 laps of the finish and see if he's got anything left in the car, and then maybe give it a bit of a push. So a measured and intelligent drive there from Gavin as usual, especially when he's running for double points. Dave Kinnaman in 5th, 15 seconds back at that little incident earlier on, which has compromised this whole race. Remember, he was out in front of all of these guys. He was the fastest starting car from the back of the grid, and had made his way up to the top of these with a good gap between the rest of the cars that are now out in front of him. So unfortunate there for him. 6th position, the first of the ASR cars, Wayne Pengelly, driving a measured race again as well after that incident earlier on. We don't know what's happened, and he's just run wide again. I'll stop talking about drivers, they keep crashing when I'm talking.
You really are the true meaning of the commentator's curse.
Yeah, if I could do a rain dance now as well, we'd throw some rain in to see how it goes for everybody. Oh, and a move on here by Scotty Bainsworth down the inside of the 222 car. That's a textbook move. Open him up and shove it down the inside and keep her there. Oh, and the 222 car's been taken out by the Volvo behind. Chris McCall. Come on. That was poor.
It really was. And as you were talking about that move, there was the move by Dan Stevens on Kai Turner for second position.
Oh, let's see if we can get that on the replay there as well. We should be able to find that one. Yep, here comes the replay of that. So the 33 Maguire's car getting a good exit onto the back straight. So he's just towing up alongside behind the DSA car. It's quite a distance back here trying to make a move. Oh, and he's just shot. Yeah, he's just shown him the nose. Kai's had to get out of the way a little bit. Oh, and a little bit of Robbins racing there. Ooh, that was ugly.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of finishes, but just watching Kai's car's behaviour there, you can actually see that he's got that brake issue again. The lights are staying on.
Yeah, that car did not look happy under braking at all. He's doing very well to drive it up into third position and keep it there. So he's got a 3-second gap back to Gavin Cox. So let's talk about the first and second. So we've got SRT number 1. We're pretty sure that number 1 Jägermeister Nissan does not have to stop again. We've got major question marks over the 33 Maguire's car. We think it's got to stop again. If he has to stop again, he really needs to make it soon, because he's going to drop himself down to at least 8th, 9th position. So I think the next 2 or 3 laps is going to tell us for definite, isn't it?
So it was probably around about lap 20 that Dan made his stop, so it could be, I think, yeah, definitely, it's going to be a big push. If he can push it on another 10 laps, that'll be 30 laps on this tank of fuel. That's a massive effort.
Yeah, so if he's going to stop, we would think it'll be any lap now. So within the next 2 laps, we'd expect this 33 car to make a dive for the pits, if it's going to. Not this lap, clearly.
No, I was watching there and I was waiting to see that car just peel right.
Yeah, so Gavin Cox in 4th position is coming up to lap 1 of the Volvos. It's the Jason Cooper Volvo. Jason, who drove a beautiful race, and himself up into a decent position, is now obviously dropped back. What's happened there? Darren Goosey?
Oh, Darren, probably just overdriving the car again.
Well, we're just watching Darren now. He's behind his teammate. Which one's Darren? The one with the red stripe on the holding badge? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Kai's the black one.
So Darren's just coming across onto the back straight, just oversteered off and into the boondocks, as we say over here.
Yeah, sometimes it's pretty over there.
So we're watching Dan Stevens come around again. Doesn't go for the pits. I don't think he's gonna pit.
Well, it's a big call. It's a big call.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's leaving it very late if he does pit now, because he's gonna have no time to make back up on the track. He might come out with fresh tyres, but you ain't gonna have time to use them, are you?
No, he's not, and that's what's got me questioning now whether it is a 2-stopper.
Yeah, I think he's going to try and make it a 1-stopper. So just dropping down to 10th position, Jared Hatfield. So the 2-stoppers, it has not worked out for them at all. So Dan Ricard Pavel is the leaders of the 2 stops. He's in 8th position, for Jason Cooper 9th, Jared Hatfield in 10th. Norman Clark has made his way back up to 11th. He's cleared his pit stop from the looks of it now as well. So recovering after the drive-through, which is unfortunate for Norman there. He's shown good pace all weekend. Yeah, so the 2-stop strategy right at this point in time looks like it was the wrong way to go.
And it definitely was. On such a short track, you want to minimise your time spent stopped. And a second stop on a track like this is going to really hurt you if no one else is going to do it. Okay,
so let's get in the cockpit with the 33 car, see how the car's behaving. It should give us an indication as to whether he will need tyres, or it will not give us an indication about fuel, obviously, unless he's lifting and coasting, which he's not at the moment. So there's a lot of oversteer coming out of some of these corners as well. He's upshifting early.
Well, he's taken it almost to the full rev limit there. He's definitely using all 7,500 RPM, so it doesn't seem as though he is short shifting that car.
Yeah, and he's down changing quite aggressively as well, so he's not afraid of the fuel window there, and he's missed the pit pit lane. I don't think this car is going to pit again, so let's follow it on for a lap. So we're into the turn 1 on the right, slow down for turn 2 on the left, hit the apex, drift out to the curb, get the power on, fade it in nicely, a little bit of oversteer there, onto the back straight, short shift so you don't step her out too much. You can see the orange number 1 car further down there as well, so looking for your braking marker on the right hand side, so keeping it nice and solid in here. He's taking a wide entry to cut back, so he's not using too much of the tyre. You can tell because there's no squeal off the tyres and there's no sort of aggressive turns on the wheel. He's coming out, he seems to be driving this beautifully to a number, so I would suspect that car's not stopping.
I don't think it is, but he's definitely chasing it all the way to the 7,500 rev limit, and if that's the case, then I don't know what the hell that this is drinking, but it's definitely not E85 because it's getting sensational economy. Yeah,
it is looking good. So we're within 5 laps of the finish. I think anybody that was going to stop would have stopped by now. Dan Ricard Pavel is the first of our 2 stoppers. He's up into 7th now. He's behind his teammate, and I believe they're both right together on track. Yes, they are. Interesting battle between the team battle here as well. So we've got the 90 car in front of the 91 car. The 91 car has shown more pace over the pre-season than the first round as well. A little bit unlucky for both cars in the end results, but they're going at it together now as well.
And as a team owner and team manager, that's something you always get a bit of a cringe moment at when you see your 2 cars side by side.
I'll tell you, every time I see them anywhere near it, I'm absolutely stacking it. Oh, here we go. They're both making a move out to the outside. Dan on the fresher tyres, down the inside there. Clean move between teammates. Past and off he goes. So he's made his way back up into 6th position now, the first of our 2 stoppers. And Dan Stevens is pitted.
Wow, that's a late call.
Oh, sorry, that's a terrible call. He's got 2 laps to make up this.
He's tried to see if the car can make it, and obviously he's got to that point where he's got to make that decision. Come on, Dan,
come on. Come on, get it going. Keep that position, get going. Why is he so slow on the exit? He's come out right in front of Dan Ricard Pavel. He should have fresh tyres. The Vegemite cars all over the back of it going for position, but he's going to have nowhere to go around the outside here as well. Dan's holding the inside line. Dan Stevens, that is, in the 33 car. Oh, and the Vegemite car's underneath him on the exit.
Whoa, it's on.
Fresher tyres on that 33 car, but he's not going to be able to use them.
Fresh tyres, Steve.
That's true, and he's been passed, and they've hit each other a little bit on the...
Oh, that's good driving, but good car control.
They've got the 2 Dans together, so the 33 car should have fresher tyres, needs to get on with the move. That was a very late pit stop. That was not the right call, to be fair. If you're going to make it, you need to make... If you knew you were making 2 stops, you make it earlier.
Oh, definitely. You definitely have to.
So just back with the number 1 car there, just serenely making its way around. So let's get back to the battle here. Dan Stevens needs to get a shift on. He's lost quite a bit of ground to the Dan Ricard Pavel Vegemite Racing car. He's looking a bit slow on track here, actually, because the Colin Burns car, is that the 222?
Yeah, it definitely is. But the battle's on up front here between Kai and Gavin for the second step on the podium. And looking at the lap times there, it was a 53.6 for Kai last lap and a 53.0 for Gavin. So heads on.
It definitely is, and here it goes.
Kai, Gavin, oh!
That might be enough to just give the position to Kai there, because Gavin's caused himself a few problems there with running in.
Yeah, definitely. I think that could be enough for the win there for Kai. I mean, if he can just keep the car straight and drive to a number, and it appears that Gavin's trying to drive to a number 2, being in the 53s. Okay,
so we're just starting the last lap now for the race leader. Dan Stevens has lost far too much ground. He does not look like he's got any pace on this set of tyres either, and he's run wide actually in the hairpin.
And again, you've really got to scratch your head and wonder what was going through the team's mind there with a stop only 3 laps out from the finish.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's if they realised that they were going to have to make the stop, they should have managed it a little bit better and stopped a lot earlier to give it time to get up to tire temperature, up to pace, and then grab back some of the positions. But as it is, it's going to be a 6th place finish, which is not the reward we were looking for.
No, it's definitely one of those ones that they were talking about the pressure being the fact that he could. It's a double hurt if you don't get well results in double point round.
There we go. We've got Rob Herbert takes the win from Kai Turner in 2nd position. Coming across now, 2nd for Kai, and 3rd for Gavin Cox. Exit drive by the top 3 there, and in 4th place Dave Kinnaman, following that incident earlier on, is just coming across start finish now. 5th position Dan Ricard Pavel, who was the first of our 2 stoppers, in 5th position. Good measured drive there from Dan Ricard. And then we've got Dan Stevens following that late pit stop, going home in 6th position. Doesn't look like there's any pace on that last set of tyres, which is a bit strange.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, the pressures were just totally wrong for such a short stint.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he actually did change tyres or whether it was just a splash and dash, but I would hope they changed the tyres.
You'd have to think they would have, because you're not going to pull a move like that late in the race and stay on the old tyres. It would just be absolutely moronic, I would say.
Yes, so that's the finish. We'll just get the results up on the screen for you now.
And I've just had word from the DSA boys there, Steve. I've got on the phone quickly. We pulled 1 litre out of Kai Turner's car.
That is pretty impressive. So there we go, we've got the results up on the screen there for everybody. So Rob Herbert takes the win from Kai Turner, Gavin Cox in 3rd, Dave Kinnaman 4th, Dan Ricard Pavel 5th, Dan Stevens 6th, Scott Bainsworth 7th, Chris McCall in 8th, Jared Hatfield 9th, Norman Clark in 10th following the drive-through, 11th Darren Goosey as only finish of the day, Ian Hannon 12th, Wim Hengeli 13th, Roger Clark 14th, Darrell Bennett 15th, Colin Burns, who had an awesome race earlier and led the race until a little mistake of his own at 16th. Jason Cooper 17th, not sure what happened to Jason, and 18th Neville Wilson. So there we have it. So let's get the top 3 down and you can give them a quick interview, Troy.
Not a problem, Steve, mate.
Parabolica moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve. Kai moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve. Ferrolari moved in from V8 Supercars by Steve.
Okay, so here we have our top 3 finishes from the longer version of our races, the 50 lapper. We've got in 1st place Rob Herbert, 2nd place Kai Turner, and 3rd place Gavin Cox. Guys, first of all, congratulations to the 3 of you.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Troy.
Gavin, we'll start with you first, mate. 3rd position. Obviously, it's been a consolidating round for you with double points on offer.
Yeah, mate. Just wanted to get a couple of good results. Thought we had a good strategy there with tyre wear going into that last race with a 1-stopper, and thought that'd get us up the front somewhere.
Yeah, there was a few people there that did go with the 2-stopper, but clearly you guys up front here with the 1-stop strategy, it worked well.
Yeah, mate, just had to sort of back it down a little bit and just manage the tyres, make them last.
Mate, well done. Kai, from my team, clearly, we spoke during the week and you were talking about, well, actually earlier today, about a 2-stop strategy, and I talked you into that 1-stop, so it clearly paid dividends for you there.
Yeah, it did, mate. I was holding on for dear life at the end, but brought it home in the end. Happy with it.
Mate, no, I made everyone aware too that we pulled only a litre out of that car, so it was great work. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
And Rob, mate, I'm sure we're going to get, might as well get a script written here for Rob Herbert 1st place, mate.
Thanks, mate. No, that was really good fun. The driving all the way through the field was exceptional tonight. Well, from what I saw anyway, what I was involved in. That was really touch and go. Yeah, 1 stop. I was lifting off quite early into the hairpin each lap, trying to get my my fuel consumption down a bit, just to have a couple of laps extra in the pocket, just in case something happens like a safety car. But it was reasonably touch and go. Finished with a couple of litres, so pretty happy. It was good fun.
Mate, and that seemed to be the case for not just yourself, but obviously your teammate Dan Stevens there. A very late decision for a pit stop. I think it was only 3 laps to go. Were you in communication with him at all through the race?
Yeah, we chat all the time. No, he had damage from someone coming back on the track after an accident, so he had quite a bit of damage. So he had to pit early because his car was hopeless. So he pitted, I think, about 3 or 4 laps earlier than we would ideally want to. So he obviously brimmed at that point, but that was never going to get him to the end of the race. So it was a foregone conclusion that he was, unless a miracle happened, he was going to have to stop again. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. Well, guys, it's been great viewing, watching the 3 of you go around, especially towards the end of the battle between Kai and Gavin. Guys, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, mate. Good work.
Cheers, Troy. Can I just say something quickly?
Yeah, mate, sure.
Mate, just want to throw a special mention out for all the back markers in the field and how well they drove tonight. It was a real credit to them.
Mate, and I'm sure the back markers really appreciate hearing the praise coming from one of the front runners like yourself.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Well, there you have it, Steve. So clearly it wasn't a foregone plan that Dan was going to run a 2-stop strategy. It was due to that incident with Norm Clark there that he pitted early.
Yeah, but surely they knew if they had to make the second stop, do it in time to catch back up. But hey, it's neither here nor there. Something we'll discuss later in the week between the team. But well done to everybody. So the points will be up. So stay tuned for Racing-Leagues.com. And thanks everybody for watching. We hopefully will catch you all next time. Cheers.